Chapter 5506. Everything is complete. The old man was in the Air Force. Yi Jian was in the Army. Uncle Fu used to be an orderly in the Air Force, and the guard were armed police. After the song was finished, the old man laughed. When your brother comes back, our family will have the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, and the martial arts. Yi Jian, who was wiping the handrail from the second floor to the first, added with a smile, "Wrong, Grandpa. There's still the special police. Have you forgotten about Ninian?" "Ah, yes. Girl, give Ninian a call and ask if she has time to come over. You have to invite Ninian over more often while your brother is at home." Old Master really liked Ninian's personality. She was like a little sun that warmed up his iceberg grandson. One was as warm as the sun, while the other was as calm as a mountain. What a match. A few years had passed, but Old Master had not given up on his original idea. Yi Jian also wanted to invite Ninian to their house, but, wiping the green vase with a few red plum blossoms, she asked with uncertainty, "I don't know if Ninian has a boyfriend. If she does, it won't be convenient for her to come over. If she has a boyfriend, Grandpa won't think about it anymore." No, Grandpa is always on the lookout. Although Old Master had retired, he still had connections. For the sake of his grandson Li Jinyan's lifelong happiness, Old Master had specially asked people to keep an eye on Ninian. Knowing that Ninian did not have a boyfriend, Old Master was relieved. Yi Jian was deeply impressed by Old Master's foresight. He imitated the chivalrous heroes on TV, clasping one hand and crossing the other to salute Old Master. As for the old man, he was in good health and had a younger mentality. Seeing this, he replied to Yi Jian in the same way. Like an otherworldly expert, he smiled and said, "Don't be too impressed. Grandpa has eaten more salt than you have drunk water. This is not a problem for Grandpa." When Uncle Fu heard this, he almost choked on his laughter. He did not have the heart to embarrass Old Master. Indeed, it was not a problem for Old Master. The key was that Old Master had never used his connections to solve his family's problems. In order to find out about Miss Nian's personal situation, Old Master Fu carefully considered it for 3 nights and even discussed it with Old Master Qin for a long time before he made the call. In Old Master's words, for the sake of Old Master's happiness, he was willing to throw away his face. Old Mister, who never asked others to do things for him, only needed to make a phone call, and the other party would come the next day and say that it was his honor to do something for Old Mister. It was true that she did not have a boyfriend during anniversary, because she had been waiting for someone. She was waiting for that person to take the initiative. As long as that person had the slightest idea, she would definitely turn into a ball of fire. She would first burn that guy very once, and then slowly roast him and clean him up. It would be New Year's Eve in 4 days. Uncle Fu was preparing to go out to buy some ingredients for the new year, some fresh fruits, and some New Year's gifts. Yi Jian expressed his interest. As a member of the family, he should personally participate in the purchasing of New Year's goods. Hence, he went with Uncle Fu. However, he was worried that Xia Jinyuan would not be there, so he called him. Xia Jinyuan was having breakfast with Old Master Xia and Old Madam Xia. When he heard this, he put down his chopsticks and said with a smile, "That's a good idea. We'll go to the race course tomorrow. Let's go shopping today." He wanted to continue accompanying Yi Jian, but Yi Jian quickly said, No. You accompany Grandpa Xia and Grandma Xia first. I didn't even visit them when I got home. It's not good to keep their grandson to myself." Note: enter Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5506, Panda Complete. Chapter 5507. Doting old Madam wanted to hear Yi Jian's voice. When Xia Jinyuan said that Yi Jian was calling, she signaled for him to put the call on speaker. Hearing Yi Jian's thoughtful words, Old Madam smiled from ear to ear and said, "Little girl, Grandpa and Grandma don't need to accompany you. Let 6th brother accompany you. It's rare for the 2 of you to meet, so Grandpa and Grandma can't hog 6th brother." Old Madam's kind voice came from the phone. Yi Jian was still a little nervous. Old Madam and Old Master Xia were both very kind. Yi Jian asked about the 2 elders' health in a natural and unrestrained manner. Old Madam and Old Master Xiao laughed and huddled around the phone, chatting with Yi Qian. You rarely come home for the New Year. If I remember correctly, this is only the second time you've spent the New Year at home. The last time, you left on the second or third day of the New Year. Little Yi, don't worry about Grandma Xia and Grandpa Xia. We're in good health, so don't worry. Accompany your grandpa and celebrate the New Year happily. Your fifth brother said that he'll tidy up the race course today and invite the two of you over tomorrow. If you have time, you can go. If you don't, you can go over after the New Year. 10 days of vacation is enough. Old Master Xia liked Yi Jian's righteous aura very much. Even her black eyes were as clear as glass. He had always told Old Madam that only the best children would have such clear eyes. If sixth brother were to marry Yi Jian, the Xia family would be very lucky. As the head of the family, Master Xia was very good at judging people. If he said that, it was naturally not wrong. Old Madam was also very good at judging people. The first time she saw Yi Qian, she recognized Yi Qian as her granddaughter-in-law. Now that she saw Xia Jinyuan and Yi Qian being so affectionate, even though they were far apart, it did not affect their feelings. At the same time, the two elders were gratified and did not want to delay their reunion by accompanying them. It was too difficult for them to get together. As their elders, they had to be considerate. Yi Qian heard this and nodded repeatedly. I'm going to the New Year's market to buy some goods. My dad and brother are both home this year. It's indeed a happy New Year. Grandpa Xia, Grandma Xia, my brother and I will come over to give her New Year greetings. Ah, good. You and your sister come together. It will be even more lively at home. Old Madam was overjoyed. Xia Jinyuan secretly gestured with her fingers to see how deep the wrinkles at the corners of her eyes to eye. Then he pretended to be jealous and said, Your grandson is here. Please take a few glances and see if it's okay. Get in the way to sit to the left and to the left and to the left and to the left. They and Saturday and to the twos. Two them to it to hand to. The old man chuckled as he watched the scene. Yi Qian was going to marry into a family Xia in the future. To have a good relationship with the family Xia's elders was a blessing to Yi Qian. It would make Old Master feel more assured. Knowing that Yi Qian was going to buy goods for the New Year, Master Xia and Old Madam Xia chatted for about 10 minutes. Then, they chatted with Old Master. Yi Qian went to the market with Uncle Fu. The New Year was approaching. The streets were decorated with lanterns and colored banners. The festive atmosphere was strong. Everyone was busy celebrating the reunion. Their faces were full of smiles. And all of this was because of the country's stability. The country's stability was protected by Yi Qian and her thousands of comrades. Yi Qian had always been proud to be a soldier. She had never regretted taking this path. She did not regret becoming a soldier or a special forces soldier. Jiuqian deity. Note, enter Panda Literature in the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Translator, Henyi Translations Doting. Chapter 5508. Preparation. Uncle Fu brought Yi Qian to the oldest and busiest street in the capital. It was an antique street that restored the architecture of the Ming and Qing dynasties. It was crowded and bustling, and there were all kinds of New Year goods. Yi Qian couldn't take it all in. Uncle Fu picked out the ingredients as he chatted with Yi Qian. It's great that you're back. I've been in the Fu family for so many years, but I haven't seen Old Master so happy in a long time. Every year, I wanted to stay and accompany Old Master, but he wasn't willing. Every time, he would instruct the guards to book a ticket for me in advance and personally send me to the airport. Jane Eyre, Old Master is in good health now. You deserve a lot of credit. In the past few years, your father would occasionally come back for the New Year. But most of the time, Old Master would stay at the house alone for the New Year. He usually has US by his side, but after all, we're not blood-related relatives. I can see how disappointed Old Master is, especially when the Qin family next door is always so lively during the New Year. Old Master is so envious of them. So when Old Master found out that you would be staying for the New Year and that your father and Jean Yin would be at home for the New Year, He was so excited that he couldn't sleep last night. Yiqian's heart ached when she heard these words. She hoped that her grandfather could live for a few more decades so that she could be filial to him. I'll try my best to make time to come back and spend the new year with grandfather. But some things couldn't be achieved just because she wanted to. The time she spent with her grandfather might be getting lesser and lesser. She would try her best to spend the new year with him every year. Old Master will be very happy if he knows. Uncle Fu smiled until his eyes narrowed. It doesn't matter what time it is. It'll be lively when you come back for the new year, but you can come back any other time. As long as you're back, it's the new year for Old Master. Thank you for accompanying grandfather and taking care of him for me and my father. Thank you, Uncle Fu. With you around, we're very relieved. Yiqian was sincerely grateful to Uncle Fu for accompanying and taking care of Old Master. If it wasn't for Uncle Fu's meticulous care, she wouldn't be at ease. Uncle Fu chuckled. You're welcome, you're welcome. Old Mister is my benefactor. It's my greatest honor to take care of Old Mister, so I can't say thank you. Saying thank you is treating me as an outsider. There were many people coming and going at the Huanghuai market. Uncle Fu talked as he made his selection. From time to time, he would ask for Yiqian's opinion. For example, he would buy couplets or window decorations. Whichever Yiqian thought was good, Uncle Fu would think it was good. After picking out the couplets, Yiqian suddenly thought of something. Will there be a lot of people coming to visit Grandpa during the new year? The last time I was at home, there were many guests from the Aerospace Academy. Yes. I'm afraid there will be even more this year. The students in the school's laboratory will send a few representatives and leaders over every year. From the first day of the Lunar New Year to the 15th day of the Lunar New Year, the house was full of family members. Everyone knows that Old Mister spends the spring festival alone. Many of Old Mister's old friends and former students come to visit Old Mister. Uncle Fu answered all of them seriously, so that Yiqian could feel at ease. Old Mister also likes guests to come over. It's very lively to drink tea and chat with them. They'll even leave food for you. You don't have to cook it yourself. The guards will send the food over from the cafeteria. Old Mister just needs to make a phone call to inform them in advance. Tip: enter Panda Literature into the search engine and you'll find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5508, Panda Preparation. Chapter 5509, Happy. When it came to family matters, Uncle Fu, who was outside, did not pay much attention to them. At home, Old Master Fu kept a close eye on him and did not allow him to say too much. This made Yiqian worry. When they were outside, Uncle Fu could speak freely. Of course, he only reported the good news and not the bad news. The main thing was that there was really nothing to report at home, except for Old Master Fu's occasional cold and cough. It's convenient at home. Other than me taking care of Old Master Fu, the guards and their subordinates are all very attentive. You don't have to worry about family matters. Old Master Fu will be better if you take good care of yourself at the base. Uncle Fu was the one who had taken care of Old Master Fu the longest. He had long treated Old Master Fu as his elder. He was also about the same age as Father Fu. So Uncle Fu, who had been fatherless since he was young, had long treated Old Master Fu as his own father. Old Master Fu had mentioned many times that he wanted to take Uncle Fu as his son, but Uncle Fu did not agree. There was a group of troublesome relatives in his family. His son and daughter-in-law were also disappointing. They once sneaked into the capital to ask Old Master Fu for a good job. Uncle Fu was so angry that he almost cut off all ties with his son. However, he still owed his family, so sometimes Uncle Fu could only bear with it. Yiqian did not know about these things. Uncle Fu also did not want to talk about his family matters in front of Yiqian, so he had been avoiding it. Especially during the new year, Uncle Fu was worried that Yiqian would ask about his family matters. Then Uncle Fu joked again, this year is really good. In the past, those people who came to pay New Year's greetings often brought their own juniors over. Old Mister's heart ached when he saw that. This year, with Miss accompanying Old Mister to receive the guests, Old Mister won't be jealous anymore. Yiqian pursed her lips and smiled. It seemed that she could not hide her identity as a member of the Fu family this new year. If her identity were to spread, it would definitely shock a lot of people, such as Madame Li and Madame Qin. Old Man Li had already passed away, so the biggest threat had been removed. Yi Qian did not want to hide her identity as Old Master Fu's granddaughter anymore. There was no need for him to explain anything. He could just let nature take its course. Yi Qian busied himself with Uncle Fu for the whole morning before returning to Dangui Garden with big and small bags. The Qin family next door seemed to be bustling with activity. There were guards bustling about all the time. The security guard told Yi Qian that Old Master Qin did not want to spend the new year at the hospital and insisted on going home for the new year. No one in the family could persuade Old Master Qin otherwise, so they had no choice but to let him go home for the new year. However, they even invited a nurse and a doctor to accompany him at home. The old man smiled and shook his head. The older you get, the more childish you become. You're so willful. Old Master Qin might feel more at ease spending the new year at home. After all, it's his first time visiting his grandson-in-law. If he spends a new year in the hospital, it won't sound good. Uncle Fu comforted the old man with a smile. Don't worry. With the nurses and doctors at home, nothing will happen. If you're really worried, you can go and take a look at him later. Coincidentally, Jian will accompany you. In the past, when Yi Qian returned to Dangui Garden, he would not leave the Fu family's house. This time, he even went to the Qin family's house. Uncle Fu more or less understood this. There was no need to hide Old Master Fu's granddaughter anymore. That was true. The old man nodded and said to Yi Qian, "Your father must be on his way back now. Just now, your grandpa Xia told me that he wanted to take advantage of the new year when both parties' elders are around to settle the marriage and hold a simple engagement ceremony. Sixth brother should have told you about this matter." Tip: enter Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5509, Panda Happy. Chapter 5510. Taking the blame old master, Yi was not surprised when Master Xia mentioned it over the phone. The two young people had been dating for many years and could totally get engaged. But, he was still a little reluctant. After getting engaged, they would get married in a few years. Once they got married, his grandson would be another family's daughter-in-law. No matter how good family Xia was, his heart would always ache when he thought of his granddaughter getting married. Yi Qian could see the sadness in Old Master Ye's smile. He gently hugged Old Master Ye's arm and said softly, "He mentioned it to me yesterday, but I didn't agree. He wanted to ask for your and Dad's opinion." He spoke very carefully. That kind of carefulness made Old Master Yi feel both relieved and sad. This child was too considerate of his family. He would rather suffer than let his family suffer. When your dad comes back, we'll discuss this properly. This is a big matter. We have to discuss it properly. Your brother, yes, we have to wait for your brother to come back and discuss it as a family. Although Old Master Yi was reluctant, Family Xiao's little six was a young talent and someone worth entrusting his life to. It was not a bad thing to settle down early. He gently patted the back of Yi Qian's hand. "Silly child, in front of Grandpa, you can say whatever you want. You don't have to care about Grandpa. Grandpa will support you no matter what you do. You and little six have been dating for so long. It's good that you're getting engaged. Our families will be more assured. Little six is a good child. He's responsible and loves you. Grandpa will be assured if you and little six are together." Yi Qian's eyes reddened as he nodded obediently. In the afternoon, Yi Qian accompanied Old Master Yi to visit Old Master Qin. Old Master Qin, who had just returned from the hospital, felt refreshed. He said to Old Master Yi, "You don't know how uncomfortable it was for the doctors. I'd rather lie down at home in the future than go to the hospital." "You old man, what are you talking about during the new year?" Old Madame Qin, who had just been relieved, was frightened by Old Master Yi again. He had just returned from the hospital, and now he was talking about lying down. She felt uncomfortable listening to him. He patted Old Master Qin's shoulder forcefully and said to Yi Qian, "This Grandpa Qin of yours is too good at tormenting people. The doctors and nurses can't do anything about him. It's good that you're back. There's no need to trouble others." "What do you mean by not troubling others?" I hate troubling others the most. I clearly said yesterday that I should quickly leave the hospital, but you, Shoer, and didn't agree and insisted that I should observe him for another day. What else can I say when the younger generation has already persuaded me? Old Master Cheen glared at his wife and refused to take the blame. Just go home early. Don't I know my own body well? You guys are making a fuss over nothing. Grandpa Cheen, you really scared Grandma Cheen when you fainted. If it weren't for Cheen Shio, Grandma Cheen would have fainted. Yi Chien stood up for Grandma Cheen, hoping that the three elders would take care of their health in the future. In the future, when it snows, you can't run in the snow anymore. Just take a walk and wear warm clothes. Grandpa Cheen patted his forehead and joked, oh no, there's another Tang Sung. We'll have to worry about our future. You deserve it. Grandma Cheen glared at her old man and held Yi Qian's hand kindly. Your Grandpa Cheen needs to be lectured. Help Grandma Cheen talk to him more in the future. Grandma Cheen will give you a big red packet during the new year. Yi Qian, who was laughing until his eyes moved, nodded vigorously and took on the heavy responsibility. Okay, I'll definitely keep an eye on Grandpa Cheen and my grandfather. Those two are like children. If I don't keep an eye on them, I'm really worried that they won't be able to take care of themselves. Tip: enter Panda Literature into the search engine and you'll find this website. Thank you. Chapter 55:10. Panda Taking the Blame. Chapter 55:11. Home. Yi Qian naturally stood on old Madam Cheen's side. She had to keep a close eye on the old lady's health. That's right. She's just like a child. Why do you have to worry about her? Grandma Cheen was grinning from ear to ear. What good child. She was indeed a descendant of the Fu family. Even if she was raised outside, she would still be a good child. Their grandson. Sai, why was he one step too late? Cheen Xiu was tidying up the room downstairs. Old Master Cheen and old Madam Cheen had always lived downstairs. When the doctor came over and suggested that the two elders stay downstairs, Cheen Xiu immediately obeyed and tidied up the room. Now that the three elders were accompanied by Yi Qian, who had always been the favorite of the elders, Cheen Xiu was very relieved. They chatted until around 3 in the afternoon. When Yi Qian saw that Cheen Xiu had finished tidying up the room, the two of them chatted and laughed all the way home. When night fell and the red lanterns outside were all lit up, Yi Qian suddenly heard the sound of a car in the Fu family's yard. She had an inexplicable feeling. Without waiting for the guard to open the door, she ran to the door like a tornado. Hey, slow down. Don't fall. The old man who came out of the kitchen saw this and hurriedly reminded her. When he saw that Yi Qian was heading towards the main door, he asked the guard who was coming. The guard smiled and said, a car stopped in the front yard. I'm not sure who is coming. When the main door opened, Yi Qian saw Father Fu standing at the door, looking travel-worn and carrying luggage. He raised his hand and pretended to press the doorbell. Dad! Yi Qian was so happy that she jumped up. She wore a sweater and jumped in front of Father Fu. The moment she saw Father Fu, her girlish playfulness was on full display. At this moment, Yi Qian was just like a happy child. Father Fu was even more surprised. He had not expected that his daughter would be home. He threw the luggage in his hands to the ground and caught his daughter, who had jumped over. He laughed loudly and was overjoyed. Jane Eyre. Oh, Daddy's precious daughter is coming home for the new year. It's a good thing that Dad is on leave too. Otherwise, I would have missed it again. Looking at his daughter, Father Fu's eyes were filled with excitement. The Spring Festival research mission had also come to an end. Thinking that it had been a few years since he had spent the Spring Festival with his old father, Father Fu applied for a Spring Festival holiday from the higher-ups and quickly flew back. She had never expected that her precious daughter would return home for the new year. The old man came out upon hearing the sound and saw the father and daughter still standing at the door. The old man's eyes were a little moist. They're back. This year, we can finally have a lively new year. Finally, he won't be alone for the new year. Jinyan should be home soon. When that time comes, it will really be a reunion. Yuxing, coming quickly. Can't you see that our little princess is wearing thin clothes? Quick, let's go in first, and then we can sit down and talk. After the old man finished speaking, he said to Uncle Fu, who was busy in the kitchen, "Xiao Fu, hurry up and cook your big brother a cured fish. He loves it the most." Uncle Fu was still cooking in the kitchen and did not hear him. The guard jogged to the kitchen to pass on the message, and Uncle Fu rushed out with a spatula. When he saw Father Fu, Uncle Fu raised the spatula and spoke with his hometown accent. "Oh, these days are so comfortable. Yuxing, you came back on purpose to rush for dinner. All right, I'll make a cured fish right away. It smells good." Father Fu was so happy that he nodded. "Good, good, good. I'll have to trouble you again. It's not a coincidence that I came back just in time for dinner." The Jiuqian Divine Emperor. Tip: enter Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5511, Panda Going Home. Chapter 5512, Reunion. Uncle Fu, who was holding the spatula, was even happier. "Ha ha, not bad. You won't let yourself go hungry. Little Yu, come and give me a hand." Little Yu was a bodyguard and had a good relationship with Uncle Fu. After receiving the order, the guard, Little Yu, immediately entered the kitchen and happily helped out. There were a total of 3 bodyguards in the Fu family. This year, it was Little Yu's turn to be on duty. The other 2 bodyguards were given a leave of absence by Old Master Fu. Old Master Fu also specially went to the guard company to ask the company commander to give the bodyguards, who had not returned home for 4 years, a month's leave of absence. Papa Fu rubbed Yi Jian's head hard. Oh my God! His precious daughter was so happy that her eyes could not be seen. "I'll go upstairs and change my clothes first. You've been in the base for half a month, and you're leaving right after you come out. I'm afraid you're going to be smelly." After entering the laboratory, he had been busy for half a month. Sometimes, he even had time to clean himself up and spend it on the experiments. It was because there were researchers like Father Fu who did not sleep and did not care about their health that the military strength of their country grew stronger year by year. Okay. Go and change your clothes. Don't let little Jian smell." The smile on Old Master Fu's face did not fade. "After changing, we can eat." Papa Fu nodded and went upstairs to wash up. His back was full of joy. Papa Fu nodded and went upstairs to wash up. Yi Qian was smiling the whole time. It was great that the family could celebrate the new year together. Now all that was left was Big Brother. He would call Big Brother later to see if he could pick up. "I don't know when your brother will be back. Something came up and he can't come back, right?" Old Master Fu also thought of Li Jinyan and couldn't help but remind him. He had been thinking about his son and granddaughter coming back for the new year and had not called his grandson to ask if he could really come back for the new year. "I'll send brother a message later. If he can come back, he will be home in 2 days." Yi Qian said with a smile, his whole body exuding happiness. "When the time comes, our family will really have a reunion." "Ah, yes. You can contact them after dinner." "All right, Grandpa. Take a seat first. Don't stand there. After sitting for a whole day, it's good to stand. Then I'll help you up. Just now you told me not to fall. You should be the one who should be most careful. Why don't you ask your brother now?" Thinking about his grandson, an old man who was away wanted to confirm it as soon as possible. "When he sees your message, he will definitely call back immediately." Yi Qian immediately took out his phone from his pocket and quickly sent a text message. He did not know if Big Brother had his phone with him. If Big Brother could see the message, he would probably call back. After sending the message, Yi Qian had yet to put his phone back into his pocket when his phone vibrated. Both grandfather and grandson burst into laughter. "It must be your brother." Old Master Fu was so happy that he quickly sat on the sofa. Pick up the phone. It was a call from Li Jinyan. He had just boarded the plane and was about to turn off his phone when he saw the message. He really did call Yi Qian back immediately. A faint and cold voice came through. "Are you also celebrating the new year at home?" There was a trace of joy that was hard to detect. Even with his cold personality, it was rare for him to reveal his emotions. Looking at Yi Qian's message, he was almost certain that Yi Qian was at home at this very moment. Tip: enter Panda Literature into the search engine and you will find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5512, Panda Literature Reunion. Chapter 5513, Reunion. Upon hearing the familiar voice, Yi Qian quickly pressed the speaker so that the old man could hear Li Jinyan's voice. On the other side, Li Jinyan heard Yi Qian's cheerful laughter. She said, "Brother, guess where I am? Talking to Grandpa." There was a hint of a smile on his handsome face. Li Jinyan looked out the window of the plane. It was brightly lit and peaceful. His wife was also at home, waiting for him to come home. "That's amazing. I didn't even say that you guessed it. Where are you now? Grandpa is waiting for you to come home for the new year." After Yi Qian finished speaking, he winked at the old man, making the old man laugh. "What a naughty girl." "The airport. I'll be home in about 5 hours." Li Jinyan had just finished speaking when he heard the old man's laughter. He said, "You're all back, you're all back. Xiao Fu, prepare a few more dishes. Jinyan can have a bite when he comes back in the middle of the night." No matter how busy Uncle Fu was, he was beaming with joy. Okay. I'll prepare Jinyan's favorite dishes right away. This child loved steamed pork with rice powder when he was young. I'll prepare a big bowl for him tonight." He hadn't returned home yet, but he could feel the warmth of family on the other end of the phone. On the plane, there were still passengers making calls. Without exception, all of them were telling their families that they had boarded the plane. All of them were in high spirits. Those who had gone out were looking forward to coming home, while those at home were looking forward to those who had gone out to come home early. There were still about 20 minutes before the plane took off. Li Jinyan looked at his watch and asked when Yi Qian had returned home and how many days he had left. "I've been home for 5 days. I only had 3 days off, and I was passing by Beijing. I don't know why, but I was suddenly given 10 days off. I could spend the new year with Grandpa at home." "Brother, how many days do you have home?" "Me? 15 days. I could spend the new year with Grandpa, too. I could spend a few more days with him than you." Li Jinyan said softly with a faint smile on his face. He leaned against the back of the chair with a relaxed expression. "Tell Uncle Fu not to work too hard. Just steamed pork with rice powder will do. Uncle Fu likes to be fast now. When my father came back just now, Uncle Fu happily went to order more dishes." "Uncle is back?" Li Jinyan sat up straight, and there was a smile in his cold eyes. This year must be the happiest year of Grandpa's life. Wasn't that so? Yi Qian looked at the old man who had entered the kitchen and was giving out orders. Her delicate face was bright and beautiful like the sun. "Grandpa will be even happier when you come back." The old man in the kitchen leaned out and said to Yi Qian, "Let your gu ask his pa to come to Dengwei Garden when he has time." Now, that old man Li had passed away. The Li family was left with the second wife. His son-in-law, alas, he was also a pitiful person. Well, for the sake of his grandson, it was better to walk around. The Li family was disbanded, and his son-in-law would be lonely when he returned home. Old Madame Xiao Li didn't want her son-in-law to come home the most. When Jinyan came back, he had to visit his biological father. The father-son relationship between them was average, and there was no meaning in seeing him. It was better to spend the new year together. Yi Qian didn't know Uncle Li well. They had never even met before. When she heard this, she conveyed the old man's words truthfully. "Good, what about Uncle?" Grandpa said to ask Uncle to come to Dengwei Garden for the new year. The more the merrier. Li Jinyan had never disobeyed the old man's words. After a moment of silence, he said, "Okay, I'll ask." In the past, when old man Li was still alive, if his father came back, he would still spend the New Year's Eve with the Li family. But this year, old man Li had passed away, so he wasn't willing to go to the Li family's old mansion and pretend to be polite with old Madame Xiao Li. Jiutian Emperor. Tip: enter Panda Literature in the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 55:13. Reunion. Chapter 55:14. Fighting. They didn't like each other, so there was no need to discuss each other on New Year's Eve. Until now, Li Jinyan's relationship with his father had always been one where they didn't make things difficult for each other and live their own lives. Now that the old man had spoken, Li Jinyan asked if they would spend New Year's Eve together. He didn't take it to heart. Li Jinyan hung up the phone and called Father Li. It wasn't Father Li who picked up the phone, but his second wife. When she saw the incoming call, her eyes flickered before she picked it up. "Hello, Jinyan." She only said one sentence, But old Madam Li, who was sitting opposite her, glared at her with a venomous gaze. Why did this evil creature contact elder brother? Could it be that the father and son's relationship had improved? When he heard his stepmother's voice, Li Jinyin didn't want to talk anymore. His second wife also knew, so she said, "Wait a moment." She handed the phone to her husband, who had just come out of the bathroom, and said softly, "It's Jinyin." Father Li's face darkened. He took the phone from his wife and said coldly, "What's the matter?" They weren't father and son at all. They were worse than strangers. Li Jinyin was already used to it, so he calmly passed on the old man's words and waited for his father to come back. Father Li snorted coldly and said coldly, "You're a member of the Fu family. I don't care where you go. Tell the old man that I won't be an eyesore." With that said, he ended the call and said to his wife, "Ignore his call." His second wife was used to her husband's indifference to his eldest son, so she nodded and didn't care about it. He was the son left behind by his first wife. The weaker his relationship with his husband, the more beneficial it would be for her and her son. Old Madam Li was relieved after hearing the whole thing. The relationship between father and son was still cold. "All right, elder brother. You know that Jinyin has always been close to the Fu family, so there's nothing to be angry about. When Ronghuan comes back later, you can ask him what he wants. Do I have to kneel down to him before he'll let me go?" As the eldest son, although old man Li was partial to his second wife, he did not treat his eldest son badly. As for Xiao Li, although old Madam Li had some small tricks against Li Fu, she was also afraid. Now she dared to touch Li Ronghuan, but she did not dare to move against Li Fu. Now that Li Ronghuan had made a fuss, she had to ask the eldest son of her first wife to come back. Father Li was very much like old man Li. Even his cold temperament was very similar. Old man Li always said that Li Chuhai's ruthlessness was like his. Then, Father Li's coldness was inherited from the Li family. In Father Li's eyes, kinship was just SOSO. No matter what Li Ronghuan did, as long as it didn't affect him, Father Li wouldn't step in. In the face of his stepmother's words, Father Li said indifferently, "Whether or not he can stop causing trouble is not something I can control. I will say what I need to say. You're his biological brother. He will naturally listen to your advice." Old Madam Li's expression was not pleasant. "Tianhao, now that your father is no longer around, do you want to learn from Li Ronghuan and bully an old thing like me?" Li Tianhao was Father Li's name. "You're thinking too much." Father Li glanced at his stepmother coldly. "When did I say anything that you can still live in the Li family? If I really did something, would you still be able to continue living in the Li family?" Li Tianhao. Mrs. Li was so angry that she slammed the table. "Why are you talking to my mother? This is my mother's home. Are you going to chase my mother away?" Small note: enter Panda Literature in the search engine and you will find this website. Chapter 55:14, Panda Fighting. Chapter 55:15. Mentality. Old Madam Xiao Li was not so impulsive. She told her daughter to calm down and said to Father Li, "Tianhao, I've never thought of leaving this house since I came in. As for you, you don't have the ability to chase me away. I've been in charge of this place for my entire life. I've been taking care of everything in this house. Although you've made a name for yourself now, you still want to chase me away. If you really do that, I won't let you off so easily." Father Li chuckled and gestured for his wife to pour him a glass of water. He needed to have a good chat with his stepmother. On the other side, you received Li Jinyin's reply. Father Li, whom she had never seen before, would not be celebrating the new year at Dangue Garden. When old Master Li heard this, he did not feel that it was a pity. He knew that his son-in-law was cold-hearted. Back then, he did not agree to his daughter's marriage because he saw that his son-in-law was not a good person. He was such a cold-hearted man, but his daughter insisted on falling head first. In the end, her body was covered in injuries. Only then did she slowly realize that she had married the wrong person. What she thought of as love was just her own wishful thinking. Forget it. If he didn't come, then so be it. If he doesn't come, then so be it. We'll just wait for your brother to come back. Then, the whole family will be here. Old Master Li's mood was not affected by this. His son-in-law was no longer his son-in-law. He was giving face to his grandson, Jinyin. He thought about how when old man Lee was still around, his son-in-law naturally had to return to the Lee family's old mansion for the new year. Once the backbone of the Lee family, old man Lee, left, the Lee family only had old Madam Xiao Li left. This person did not get along with the first wife's son. Now that the old man was no longer around, it was not surprising that something would happen at the dinner table on New Year's Eve. Old Master Li let his son-in-law come over for the new year because he did not want Li Jinyan to worry about the Li family. Since his son-in-law did not appreciate it, then so be it. Father Fu washed up and changed his clothes. Yi Qian circled around Father Fu like a lark, chattering nonstop. Father Fu was extremely patient. Facing his only daughter, as long as Yi Qian asked anything, Father Fu would answer with a smile. There are only a few days of New Year's Eve. There's a traffic jam at the airport, and there's still a traffic jam on the way back from the airport in Beijing. They're all rushing home for the new year. The old man smiled and said, "Spring Festival is the biggest festival in our country. People who go out to work will rush home. Naturally, the roads will be congested. Nowadays, our country's transportation is quite developed. We have all kinds of highways, railways, and planes. It's many times better than our era." There was one year when I rushed back to Beijing for the new year. First, I rode my bike to a village and stayed with a fellow villager for a night. The next morning, I took a donkey cart from my fellow villager to the town. Then, I took a tractor from the town to the city. Finally, I took a bus from the city to the provincial train station. Only then did I really get on the train home. It only took a week on the road. After that, your grandmother and I never returned to Beijing for the new year. Your father and aunt stayed with our fellow villager until they were 10 years old. Only then did your grandfather send them back to Beijing. They had been living in school. Life back then was difficult, but there was hope. No matter how difficult it was, they gritted their teeth and got through it. Father Fu still had a deep impression of what happened when they were young. At that time, other children looked forward to the new year. Your aunt and I did not look forward to it all. Other people's new year was filled with joy. At our home, it was so cold that ice formed on the walls every day. Only by remembering the bitterness would one be able to recall the sweetness. Papa Fu did not hide the bitterness of the past. He wanted Yi Jian to know that compared to the past, today's days were all better. Tip: enter Panda Literature in the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 55:15 Panda Literature Mentality. Chapter 55:16 Upper Father Fu had suffered a lot when he was young. Sometimes, he couldn't even fill his stomach with food. While I was 15 years old, I saw your grandfather 3 times. I saw your grandmother more often, about once a year. Actually, we spent most of our time either at home or at school. We went to the army for the new year. Sometimes, when we missed your grandparents too much, your aunt and I would hug a blanket each and cry under it. We didn't dare to let anyone hear us. We spent the new year with the Qin family most of the time. Even our clothes were prepared by Mrs. Qin. Your aunt and I were wondering why our parents couldn't work in the Foreign Affairs Department. The Fu and Qin families have been friends for decades. Mr. and Mrs. Qin were researchers in the secret project. When the higher-ups found out about it, they instructed their subordinates to take good care of the siblings. Father Fu and Mrs. Qin were educated well, even though they didn't have parents by their side to educate them. Their personalities were also quite good. But they were in other families. How could they be as comfortable as they were in their own home? Yi Qian was deeply attracted to the hard times of the past. Back then, it was really hard to even go home. Unlike now, it was much easier to go back home from all over the world. In another 10 years, there would be better transportation. The new year was approaching. Many people were still rushing home. The streets of Beijing were still very congested. Yi Qian, Father Fu, and Mr. Fu chatted as they waited for Father Fu to order the dishes. As they chatted, they talked about Yi Qian and Xia Jinyuan. Mr. Fu spoke first. He mentioned Yi Qian and Xia Jinyuan's engagement. "Since you're back and have a few days off, let's settle the engagement between Xiao Jian and family Xia while everyone is here. You know Six Brother too. He's talented and has a good character. He's been dating Jane Eyre for so many years. They're like-minded comrades who trust each other at work. You've seen how close the two children are. Why don't we take advantage of the new year to get engaged? It's a happy occasion for the family. Engaged? Dad, why did you suddenly think of getting engaged? How old was Jane Eyre? How long had it been since she returned to the Fu family? How could a lifelong event be decided so quickly? I still want to keep Jane Eyre by my side for a few more years. No, we can't get engaged this early. When Father Fu heard this, he frowned and immediately objected. I've already told Six Brother that Jane Eyre won't get married so early. You have only been in the Fu family for a few years. How can you become someone else's? Dad, everything else is fine, but I won't agree to this. If you get married early, you will become someone else's daughter-in-law. Father Fu shook his head repeatedly. His precious daughter had just returned to his side. How could she be snatched away like this? He hadn't kept enough yet. He couldn't even get engaged. Father Fu felt like his heart was bleeding when he thought about how his daughter would become someone else's wedding. Xia Jinyuan was right. The biggest obstacle to the engagement was Father Fu. Old Master Fu had already guessed Father Fu's objection. He smiled and sighed. Your precious daughter is my precious granddaughter. I also think that family Xia is a suitable child. Old Master and Old Madam Fu also like our family Xia. That's why I want to get engaged early. It's not wrong. Won't there be more people to dote on our Xiao Jian? Besides, our Jane Eyre also likes family Xia's boy very much. It's only a matter of time before she gets engaged and married. Since we're both at home, why don't we just settle it while we're at it? Jiutian Shun Huang Tip. Enter Panda Literature in the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 55:16, Panda Revolt. Chapter 55:17, Counseling. Old Master agreed. Father Fu's eyes were full of resentment. Why did he have to hear such an explosive news when he returned home? He wondered if he had returned home too early. If family Xia hadn't returned home, the engagement wouldn't have happened. Why did he return home for the new year this year? Yi Qian felt sad at first, but when he saw Father Fu's resentful eyes, he wanted to laugh. Old Master continued to counsel him. Also, no matter where little girl Jian gets married, she will always be a child of the Fu family. How could she become someone else's? I don't like what you're saying. Even if little girl Jian gets married, she will always be a daughter of the Fu family. It doesn't mean that she won't be part of the family after she gets married. Your thinking is wrong. You have to change it. When he said the last sentence, the old man became very serious. Even his voice was especially serious, and his face was even stiff. Mr. Fu glanced at his daughter pitifully and said to old Master Fu, Dad, I know what you're talking about, but look at how young our girl is. It's not good for her to get married so early. You said it yourself, that boy from Xia family likes our girl very much. Since that is the case, we can wait for another 2 years. It was not that Father Fu did not understand what old Master meant, but he did not want to settle this matter so soon. He thought about how his daughter, whom he had just doted on, was about to become someone else's daughter-in-law. He felt uncomfortable and uncomfortable. His family's cabbage was going to be eaten by a pig. Old Master Fu felt a headache coming on when he saw how stubborn his son was. This kid was already so old, but he still couldn't be reasoned with. Little girl Jian and family Xia are only getting engaged. They're not getting married immediately. The children are happy about it. Why are you unhappy? Father, it's not that I'm unhappy. I don't agree to the engagement or marriage. I just think it's too early. Jane Eyre just graduated last year. She's only been working for a year. How could she get engaged so early? Let's postpone it for another 2 or 3 years. When the time comes, I will definitely agree. Father Fu also tried to persuade the old man. In this matter, I must let my old father and I unite on the same front. We must not be divided into 2 factions by the enemy. No matter what, a family must be united. He agreed to the engagement, but he didn't agree on the timing. Are you still hoping to find a better son-in-law in the future? Are you going to meet a better and more suitable son-in-law? Therefore, he didn't want to get engaged to last Jian so early. He was afraid that the engagement would become a chain. Little Miss Jian, look at your father. Had he gone senile? I'm already 80 or 90 years old, but I'm not as muddle-headed as him. The old man was infuriated by Father Fu. Mr. Fu hurriedly tried to appease the old man. Dad, calm down, calm down. What do you mean by better and more suitable? In my heart, Sixth brother is better and more suitable. He is definitely the best son-in-law. You have wronged me. It's not that I don't agree, and I don't think too much about it. I just think that the engagement is too early. Our Jane Eyre is only 23 years old. She started school early and graduated early. You just graduated when you were 23 years old. Further up, he's a graduate student, a student. You can't think that you've been dating for a long time just because the two of you have dated for a few years. When it's time to get engaged, we have to go back to our actual age. You can't change the concept. Tip: enter Panda Literature in the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 55:17, Panda Enlighten. Chapter 55:18. Wait. Old Master was trying to persuade his parents, and so was Father Fu. It was supposed to be a matter between Yi Qian and Xia Jinyuan, but in the end, Yi Qian looked at Old Master, then at Father Fu. She secretly sent Xia Jinyuan a text message that read, "Be prepared to be bombarded by my father." She knew that Father Fu would not agree, but she did not expect Father Fu to be so insistent. Father Fu, who was insistent, continued to persuade Old Master. In 2 years, Jane Eyre will only be 25 years old. I will not object to her engagement. I'm not against it, but I think it is too early. How can you bear to let Jane Eyre get engaged at 23 years old? If she were your student, would you persuade her? You wouldn't persuade her, would you? How young is 23 years old? Getting engaged at such an early age? Sigh, Dad, I really think it is too early. Then, Xia Jinyuan replied to his girlfriend's text message. How is father-in-law? Is he angry? Yi Qian glanced at Old Master, covered her smile, and replied to the text message. The situation is not looking good. I think Dad has persuaded Grandpa well. Grandpa originally agreed to the engagement, but now I am afraid he will stand on Dad's side. Xia Jinyuan, who saw the text message, was speechless. His father-in-law was really a genius. He wanted to kneel down to his future father-in-law. Old Master originally agreed, but in the end, he was persuaded to defect. Xia Jinyuan's respect for his future father-in-law instantly increased. Yi Qian spoke at the right time. Dad, Grandpa, let's not talk about the engagement. Let's eat first. We can discuss this matter. I'm not in a hurry. I'm really worried that Dad and Grandpa will quarrel because of me. Yi Qian was really worried that it would be her fault if her father and Grandpa quarreled over her engagement during the New Year. Your father is a stubborn donkey. Old Master was angry and could not help but scold Father Fu. But in his heart, he felt that what Old Master Fu said made sense. In terms of age, his granddaughter's engagement seemed a little early. Why don't we talk about it later? Grandpa, don't be angry. I know you're doing this for my own good. Since it's all for my sake, Grandpa, please don't be angry, okay? Yi Qian held the old man's hand and comforted him. My dad really didn't mean anything by it. Don't be angry. He just can't bear to part with me. The old man glanced at his son, who was smiling at him, and snorted. I'm just afraid that he's still thinking about the pot while looking at the bowl. Father Fu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Dad, I really didn't mean that. It's just that Jane Eyre is too young, and I don't want her to get engaged during the New Year. Mr. Fu's heart sank when he was home for the Lunar New Year and was suddenly splashed with a bucket of cold water. Engagement, it really wouldn't be too late to get engaged in 2 years. Uncle Fu came out with the hot dishes. Come. It's time to eat. This year, the family was celebrating the New Year with Old Master Fu. Old Master Fu was so happy that he asked the guard to open a bottle of red wine and said to the guard, Little you, you're the only one staying this year. Come, don't just stand there. Let's eat together. Next year, I'll give you a holiday so that you can go home early for the New Year. Little Yu was from Yun Province and was born in the countryside. When he arrived in Yun Province, he had to take a car to a small town, then he had to ride a motorcycle, and finally, it took him about 5 hours to walk home. To him, staying in the capital for the New Year was because Old Master Fu thought highly of him. When the family found out, they all told him to protect Old Master Fu and not to think about returning home. Little Yu smiled and said, "Old Master, I'm more than happy to stay here for the new year. Next year, I'll still stay next year as long as you're willing to let me continue to be your guard." Tip: enter Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 55:18. Wait. Chapter 55:19. Companionship. Although Little Yu wasn't very tall, at only 1.7 meters, he had great brute strength and was quite skilled in martial arts. Among the 3 bodyguards, he was the best at martial arts. The 2 bodyguards who were on holiday were not far from home, so it was convenient for them to go home. Master Yi even wanted to give Uncle Fu a holiday so that he could go back to his hometown for the new year, but Uncle Fu insisted on staying. Master Yi had no choice but to agree. With both of them gone, the Fu family on the eve of New Year's Eve was really deserted. However, it was different this time. Uncle Fu was busy serving the dishes, Little Yu was busy filling the bowls, and Yi Qian was busy arranging the chopsticks. The new year was not over yet, but the Fu family was already lively. Now, they were waiting for Li Jinyin to come home. Master Yi sat at the head of the table and said with a big smile, "This year is really rare. You are all here to celebrate the new year with me. Let's not talk about other things. Let's eat, drink, and talk about happy things as a family." Yi Qian stood up with a glass of wine in his hand. "Let me toast to Grandfather first. I wish Grandfather good health and peace. I wish Grandfather good luck every year." Good, good. Master Yi smiled so widely that he could not close his mouth. There was no need to wait until New Year's Eve. It was the new year now. After Yi Jian started the toast, Papa Fu also stood up to toast, followed by Uncle Fu, and finally the guard Xiao Yu. Old Master Fu drank the wine with a smile, and the whole family chatted and laughed. After the meal, Master Yi, Father Fu, and Li Jinyin went to the living room to chat. Yi Qian and Little Yu cleaned up the table and put the dishes in the kitchen. After that, Yi Qian wanted to wash the dishes but was chased out by Uncle Fu. "The kitchen is my territory. Don't mess around in my territory. Quick, go out and talk to your father and Master Yi. Your father must have a lot of questions to ask you." Yi Qian did not move. Instead, he put the washed dishes into the disinfectant cabinet. Then, he cleaned up the trash in the kitchen and handed it to Little Yu. He did not give Uncle Fu a chance to interfere. Uncle Fu was heartbroken. "You're stealing Uncle Fu's job." Little Yu, who had taken the trash, glanced at Uncle Fu with a smile and hurriedly took the trash out. He was afraid that Uncle Fu would snatch the trash from his hands. Uncle Fu, who could not stop him, went to invite Old Master over. He even teased him, "Old Master, please go and take a look. I suspect that Jane Eyre wants to fire me. She's even snatching my kitchen job." The Old Master did not expect Yi Qian to spend so much time in the kitchen. Not only did she wash the dishes, she even cleaned the kitchen. Seeing that Uncle Fu's heart ached for Yi Qian, the Old Master smiled and walked to the kitchen. He said to Yi Qian, who was still wiping the cupboards, "Why are you still cleaning the kitchen? Come and sit with Grandpa. The kitchen is your Uncle Fu's territory. If you don't clean it for him, he will be unhappy." "I'm just doing the cleaning. I don't have the guts to snatch work from Uncle Fu." "Uncle Fu, take a look. Is it clean?" She was still holding a rag in her hand. Uncle Fu was quick and snatched it from her hand before saying, "It's just so. I still have to do it." Sigh. Family Xiao's little six is really lucky to be able to marry a girl like you. Nowadays, not many girls are willing to work in the kitchen. Uncle Fu was very satisfied with Xia Jinyuan. In the entire capital, Uncle Fu felt that there were not many people who could compare to Xia Jinyuan. When he thought about how he was about to become the Fu family's grandson-in-law, Uncle Fu was very happy. Father Fu, who had come over to take a look, heard this and coughed lightly. He gave Uncle Fu a look. Tip: enter Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Chapter 55:19, Panda Companionship. Chapter 55:20, Mutual Acquaintance. Big brother, please don't mention it. It wasn't easy for him to convince his old father. If he mentioned it again, His old father might want Jane Eyre to get engaged early again. What are you coughing for? Salty vegetables? Drink more water. The old man glanced at him and knew very well why he coughed. Did he think that he wouldn't notice this little trick right under his nose? What's so early about getting engaged? I think it's very good. The old man snorted. Dad, didn't we agree not to talk about this for the time being? Father Fu was worried and hurried over to take the old man's place in the living room. Let's talk about something else. Let's not talk about the engagement. Otherwise, Jane Eyre will be worried that we'll quarrel again. You're the one who said it, not me. At this moment, the old man was like an old urchin who insisted on quarreling with Father Fu. It looked like quarreling, but in reality, Yi Qian could see a hint of a smile in the old man's eyes. Yi Qian, who almost thought that the old man was being bullied again, quickly lowered his head and laughed secretly. Grandpa was just teasing his father. He was indeed an old urchin. No wonder he could do something like running a few laps outside after playing chess. Grandpa, have some tea. Dad, have some tea. I'll have some tea too. Even though the old master was teasing Father Fu, Yi Qian was worried that Father Fu would take the matter seriously and get into an argument with the old master over it. He quickly turned into a considerate little boy and tried to appease the elders. If Father Fu and the old master really got into an argument because of her during the new year, it would really be her fault. Your father is boring. The old man took the tea and said to Yi Qian, he has no sense of humor. He doesn't even know I'm joking with him. Father Fu then realized that the old man was just teasing him. Dad, I'm already a few decades old, but you're still treating me like a child. What? You can't do it? Sure. Father Fu quickly agreed. As long as they didn't mention Jane Eyre's engagement, he would be happy to be a 3-year-old. Uncle Fu was busy in the kitchen with Xiao Yu's help. Yi Qian sat down, and Father Fu asked him questions one after another. First, he asked how many days he had left. Then he asked how he was doing recently. In the end, he picked up the newspaper on the coffee table and pointed at the recent news. Look at your back. I recognized you immediately. She didn't even tell her family that she was going to do peacekeeping. If Dad hadn't read the newspapers, he wouldn't have known that his daughter was participating in peacekeeping. Peacekeeping, Libya, the most dangerous country, his precious daughter actually went to peacekeeping. At that time, when Father Fu saw the background in the newspaper, he was worried for the entire night. Later, when Battalion Commander's son came to pick him up, Father Fu asked about the Libyan female soldiers. Battalion Commander's son smiled and said, we have 10 female soldiers on our side. The one leading them is your daughter, Xiao Yi. You don't worry. They're in charge of logistics and won't go to dangerous areas. Even if there's danger, it won't be their turn. After hearing Battalion Commander's son's words, Father Fu felt a lot more at ease. Therefore, Father Fu had always thought that Yi Qian was still doing peacekeeping overseas. He never expected to see Yi Qian at home. Therefore, the moment he saw Yi Qian, Father Fu was stunned. How could he not be surprised when his daughter, who was doing peacekeeping overseas, miraculously appeared at home? Yi Qian was sweating profusely. It was just a back view. She might not even be able to recognize it at a glance. How could her grandfather and father recognize it at a glance? I'm not really going to do peacekeeping. I'm just going there with a team. After the female soldiers get used to it, I will come back. You can rest assured. Although it's very dangerous over there, we're all in the peacekeeping camp and have never left. It's very safe. The old man added, Sixth brother is there too. With him taking care of her, I'm very relieved. Tip: enter Panda Literature into the search engine and you'll find this website. Thank you. Chapter 55, 20 Mutual Acquaintance. Chapter 55:21. Reunion. Father Fu, who was originally very relieved, heard that Xia Jinyuan was also there. His heart sank. Even Sixth brother was there. Sixth brother was there not to take care of his daughter, but because they had a mission. Fortunately, both of them came back safe and sound, and nothing happened to them. Father Fu, who was on a roller coaster ride, did not say much. He was afraid that if he said anything, old Master Fu would be worried too. He secretly sighed and smiled. With him taking care of you, I'm very relieved. If they went abroad together, that would be really worrying. It's good that you're back. It's good that you're back. Father Fu secretly wiped the sweat on his forehead and changed the topic. He was also very happy to know that Li Jinyan would be home later. Old Master Fu was looking forward to a family reunion. There was one time when he called home, old Master Fu even said, "When can our family sit down and have a meal together?" It was obvious how much he was looking forward to it. This time, he was really looking forward to it. When he saw that Li Jinyan was home at 1 o'clock in the morning, he suggested that he drive to pick him up. Yi Qian raised her hand. "Dad, don't steal my job. I've already made plans with my brother. I'll go pick him up. You should rest well." She was afraid that Father Fu would steal her job. Old Master Fu laughed. Okay. Go. We won't stop you." Father Fu also laughed. "I won't steal your job. Go pick him up. Go pick him up." The siblings haven't seen each other for a long time. They must have a lot to talk about. "Dad won't go. You go." Looking at the time, he felt that it was already 10 o'clock at night. Even Uncle Fu and Little You were still busy in the kitchen. No one felt that time had passed quickly. "It's 10 o'clock. Go back to your room and rest. Sleep for 2 hours before you pick your brother up. You'll be more energetic when you drive." Father Fu was very assured that his daughter would drive at night. Father Fu had seen Yi Qian's driving skills for the first time when they first met. It was not just any ordinary driving skills. Father Fu knew that Yi Qian and Xia Jinyuan must have gone to Libya for a special mission. Yi Qian was actually not sleepy, but considering the old man's health, he pretended to yawn and planned to go back to his room and let the old man sleep first. The old man had been having fun the whole day and felt a little tired. He was served by the father and daughter back to his room to rest. At midnight, Yi Qian quietly went downstairs. He didn't even alert his bodyguard, Xiao Yu, and drove away. With her skills, Little Yu was no match for her. Little Yu had also noticed that apart from the fact that Yi Qian was the granddaughter of the old teacher, Little Yu was also very respectful towards Yi Qian. When they arrived at the airport, Li Jinyan's plane had just landed. After about 15 minutes, Yi Qian saw Li Jinyan's figure. The airport was brightly lit in the middle of the night, and there were still people coming and going. It was impossible to tell that it was the middle of the night. The airport was bustling with noise and excitement. Li Jinyan saw his sister, Yi Qian, as soon as he came out of the airport. He was already walking very fast, so his strides were even bigger. One of his steps was equivalent to 3 steps of others. When the two siblings met, Li Jinyan looked at Yi Qian carefully and then said, "If I hadn't taught you before, I would have suspected that you were slacking off during training every day." Yi Qian immediately knew why he said that. She touched her face, blinked, and said with a smile, "I can't help it. I was born with fair skin, just a little bit better than you. You're the same. You don't get much tanned, even though you've been tanning by the beach every day." Li Jinyan was also born with fair skin, which he had inherited from the Fu family. No matter how much he tanned, he would only get a little tanned, and his face would be pale again. Tip: enter Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 55-21, Panda Reunion. Chapter 55-22. Converse as Li Jinyan was as fair as a scholar and had an exceptionally cold and handsome appearance. Bustling was a little worried when they went to the beach just now. Later on, after the results were out and the comrades in the team were convinced, Bustling was relieved. The two brothers and Xia Jinyuan were like a family, so they were all the same type of people who couldn't get tanned. They were about the same, and no one could say anything about the other. He looked at his younger sister, whom he had not seen for a long time. Seeing the smile in her eyes, he knew that she was very happy. Li Jinyan smiled and raised his hand to rub Yi Qian's head. "Let's go home." His sister was doing well, and that was what he hoped for the most. She had suffered a lot when she was young and was almost killed by others. Now that the bitterness was over, the good times had come. The past days had been harsh on her. She only hoped that the years to come would be tolerant and kind to her. Smoothing out his messy short hair, Yi Qian sighed, "Luckily, I have short hair. If I had long hair, you would have messed it up. I'll use scissors to tie the knot." "Brother, It's really hard for you to find a girlfriend like this. Don't you know that girls with eldest daughters value their hair a lot? That's why I'm not looking for a long-haired girl. Which short-haired girl caught your eye? Yi Qian's curiosity was piqued, and a name popped up in his mind. Li Jinyan did not answer. He walked up to the car and gestured for Yi Qian to open the door. He put his luggage in the back seat and sat in the front passenger seat. Yi Qian, who did not get an answer, raised his eyebrows. There was a deep smile in his eyes. Something was going on. Something was definitely going on. When they got into the car, Li Jinyan asked Yi Qian, "Where's Xia Jinyuan? Are you spending the new year at home?" "We came back together." "Brother, don't change the topic. Tell me, which short-haired girl do you like?" Yi Qian didn't give Li Jinyan a chance to avoid the topic. He started the car and asked, "You have such a long vacation with them. Aren't you planning to settle your relationship with them?" Li Jinyan asked again. She continued to answer and escalated his question. "Do you want to meet Nyin this holiday?" Yi Qian asked Li Jinyan. Li Jinyan paused when he heard Nyin Junyan. He did not continue the conversation and continued to ask Yi Qian, "I'm asking you a question. Why are you interrupting?" "What? Are you embarrassed?" Yi Qian would not let Li Jinyan off so easily. She had teamed up with Zhou Nyin to hunt down a criminal, so she had always kept in touch with her. She really liked Zhou Ninyan's personality. Moreover, from her conversation with Zhou Nyin, she could vaguely feel that Zhou Ninyan's feelings for Li Jinyan were not ordinary. The two of them were interested in each other, but neither of them had the intention to take the initiative. It was too meaningless to waste time like this. "I just feel that we might not be suitable for each other." Li Jinyan did not avoid the topic this time. He said calmly, "I have to work all the time. I can't take care of her or accompany her. Being with her will only be a hindrance to her. I think you guys are quite suitable for each other." Yi Qian saw that Li Jinyan was not going to say the reason. She was sure that there was something else that was hard to say. It didn't matter if it was a hindrance or not. The world was so big. It was not easy to meet someone who liked and liked you. Life was only so long. Perhaps if you were unwilling to take the step now, it would become a lifelong regret. Yi Qian thought that she would be the matchmaker this time. When the time came, she would invite Nyin Junyan to Dangui Garden and create an opportunity for the two of them to meet and talk. Jiutian Shun Huang Tip. Enter Panda Literature in the search engine and you'll find this website. Thank you. Chapter 55-22. Conversation. Chapter 55-23. Heartwarming. Yi Qian was about to invite Nyin Junyan to Dangui Garden as a guest or to Fifth Brother's stud farm when Li Jinyan glanced at him sharply. "What are you up to?" "I'm not up to anything. I'm just thinking about some things." Yi Qian was not afraid of his sharp gaze. Since her grandfather was concerned about her, she naturally had to share his burden. Li Jinyan did not believe him. However, he did not know where to start talking about the matter between him and Nyin Junyan. He was not good at expressing himself. After thinking for a while, he said calmly, "Don't interfere. I'll settle it myself." "Why should I interfere?" "Brother, who do you think I'm going to interfere with your business? Why don't you tell me what's going on, and who is it?" Li Jinyan knew that he was not Yi Qian's match, so he did not say anything. Not to mention personal matters. When Li Jinyan asked about family matters, Yi Qian knew that he was worried. He explained everything clearly, including the chess game and how old Master Qin fainted and was hospitalized that night. When he heard this, Li Jinyan's face darkened. He could not let the old man do whatever he wanted. He had to talk to him properly. An hour later, the two brothers returned to Dangui Garden. Uncle Fu had already made the bed in Li Jinyan's bedroom. He did not give Yi Qian a chance to show off his skills. When the two siblings returned, they did not alert anyone, not even little Yu. The car was deliberately parked far away. It would be strange if little Yu was alerted. The moment Li Jinyan entered the house, he felt the warmth of home. Ever since his sister, Yi Qian, returned, the house felt more like a family. Even old Master Qin's spirit and personality became more cheerful. Lying on the bed, Li Jinyan's thin lips curved into a light smile as he slept. The next day, while Yi Qian was still in bed, he received a call from Xia Jinyuan. They had originally planned to go to the stud farm today, but unexpectedly, Granduncle from his hometown came over. As his grandson, Xia Jinyuan had to accompany him, so he could not accompany Yi Qian. Sigh, I thought that when we returned to the capital, we could see each other every day. In the end, I was too naive. We are so close, but we still can't meet. I'm lovesick. On the other end of the phone, Comrade Xia said sadly. Her tone was full of pity. Yi Jian was not fooled. She missed him. Of course, she missed him, because she missed him too. He said that he was lovesick and tease her, trying to win her sympathy, then take the opportunity to make a request. It was all a trick. Fortunately, she had seen through him. Stay with Uncle and Grandpa. Don't keep thinking about going out. I'll stay at home with Grandpa, Dad, and my brother. The devil is king? Is another piece of bad news early in the morning. Just as Xia Jinyuan finished speaking, Yi Qian snorted coldly. What? You don't like my brother? How would I dare to not like brother-in-law? I'm just scared. Father-in-law's camp has one more fierce person who opposes my engagement with you. Li Jinyan did not want Yi Qian to get engaged so early, so he wanted Xia Jinyuan to bring him home early. The two of them chatted for about 10 minutes before ending the call reluctantly. When Yi Qian came downstairs, he saw Li Jinyan standing there with a long face. Her good father was asking her questions seriously, and her grandfather was sitting there with a kind face. It was obvious that he was waiting for her brother to speak. Yi Qian listened for a while and could not help but laugh. It seemed that no matter which family it was, no matter the status of the elders in the family, they would all do the same thing during the new year: ask why they were not married or in a relationship. No matter what status they had, they would be urged to get married during the new year. Note: enter Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 55-23. Panda Literature Translator, Uni. Chapter 55-24. Leaving the single Yi Qian laughed out loud. The old man hurriedly waved his hand and motioned for his granddaughter to come over. Little Jian, are there any suitable girls around you that you can introduce to your brother? With your brother's personality, I don't know when he'll be able to get married. Sitting next to the old man, Yi Qian glanced at Li Jinyan, who was pulling a long face. He deliberately dragged out his words and said, Grandpa, I have a girl here who is quite outstanding. Why don't I invite her to our house for the new year? Okay. You should invite her back as soon as possible. She must be a good girl. The old man was very happy. He probably knew who Yi Qian was talking about. Since your brother is here, let him take a look. Blind and dumb marriages are not popular nowadays. Li Jinyan looked straight at Yi Qian and glanced at her coldly. Yi Qian raised his eyebrows and returned Li Jinyan's smile without fear. She was still thinking of a reason and excuse to invite Nyin to their house in front of her brother. In the end, her grandfather was very supportive and immediately went along with her words. Now that the old grandpa had spoken, the filial big brother couldn't refuse. Yi Qian sweetly replied, Grandpa, then I'll really invite her to our house to play and let big brother take a good look at her. Who knows, it might really work out. My granddaughter is still the most considerate. I'll leave this matter to you. If you do it well, Grandpa will definitely give you a big red packet. The old man knew who Yi Qian was referring to, but he pretended not to know anything. Why don't I give you the red packet first? If you take the money first, won't you work harder? I will do my best. Yi Qian was good at coaxing the elderly. In the end, the old man really took out a red packet. The old man took out the red packet he had prepared in advance and placed it in Yi Qian's hand in front of Li Jinyan. This was originally prepared for you, but now it's your errand fee. Do your job well, and there will be even greater benefits waiting for you. Leave it to me, you'll definitely be satisfied. Yi Qian held onto the red packet, determined to be a good matchmaker. There was obviously a story behind it. It wouldn't be too late to make a move after she figured out the twists and turns in the story. The man had feelings for the woman, and the woman had feelings for him. As long as there were some misunderstandings, they could be easily explained away. Then, the old man took out another red packet and handed it to Li Jinyan, who was speechless. Come, you have a red packet too. Take it. Me too. Li Jinyan took the red packet in a daze. He also had an errand fee. I gave your sister a red packet. How could I leave you out? Grandpa Sheng looked at his grandson's dazed expression and felt that it was very interesting. I'll give you a red packet in advance to congratulate you on leaving the single life as soon as possible. Your sister's matter has been settled a long time ago, but as her older brother, you're actually lagging behind her. Hurry up and find a granddaughter-in-law for Grandpa so that he can get out of singlehood as soon as possible. The heavy red packet had become a heavy sweet potato in his hands. Leaving the single life, the red packet, he was a little unsteady. Father Fu looked at him and was amused. Dad, the day after tomorrow is New Year's Eve. If you give the red packet early, you'll have to spend money again on New Year's Eve. So be it. I'm willing to spend money. The old man immediately retorted. Even if you're envious, you won't get a share. Father Fu, Dad, you're thinking too much. He really wasn't envious. You guys continue chatting. I'm going to take a nap. I was too happy last night and didn't get a good night's sleep. I need to be refreshed so that I can continue chatting with you guys. Tip: enter Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 55-24. Panda Leaving the Single. Chapter 55-25. Persuade the old man, who didn't sleep well last night, didn't force himself. One had to know that only when one was in good spirits would one have good physical strength. At his age, he had to take good care of himself for the sake of his children and grandchildren. He rejected Yi Qian and Li Jinyan's help and slowly walked back to his room. Yi Qian and Li Jinyan still followed behind the old man, afraid that he would lose his balance and fall. After the old man entered the room, Li Jinyan said to Yi Qian calmly, "At first, we were talking about you, but after a while, we ended up talking about me. Bro, speaking of which, you're an old bachelor. It's time for you to solve your personal problems." Yi Qian chuckled softly. "It's a new year. As long as you're old enough, no one can escape the urge to get married. If you get engaged, I won't be urged to get married." Li Jinyan said slowly, "Although I agree with what Uncle said just now and don't approve of you and Xia Jinyuan getting engaged so early, when I think about myself, I think it's a good thing for you to get engaged early. At the very least, the old man would not only focus on him during the new year." "Okay, if you nod, my dad will nod too." Yi Qian raised his eyebrows proudly. "I'm not against the engagement. If you agree, Grandpa will agree, and Papa will naturally agree as well. Brother, why don't you go with my father now? You want to rebel? Are you here to make fun of me?" Li Jinyan pretended to knock on Yi Qian's head, but it was just an empty gesture. He couldn't bear to touch a single strand of Yi Qian's hair. "Brother, you've seen my skills. Why don't we see who can beat who? By the way, let's ask Grandpa to come out as a witness." As her brother, Li Jinyan couldn't do anything about her mischievous behavior. All he could do was take good care of his little sister. You really don't want to be taken advantage of. Luckily, Xia Jinyuan took you over. Otherwise, I would be worried about whether you would be able to get married. After all, who would be able to control you? Jinyan, your sister doesn't need anyone to hold her down. It's better if she can be held down by my daughter." Father Fu, who had sharp ears, immediately said. Now that Xia Jinyuan and the engagement were mentioned, he reacted very quickly like a bird startled by the twang of a bough. As her older brother, you naturally have to protect your younger sister, right? He couldn't let Jinyan betray him. Li Jinyan nodded. "Uncle, don't worry. With me around, no one can bully my sister." "Very good. The alliance is still here." Father Fu was relieved. "With your words, Uncle is very relieved." Yi Qian saw this and laughed in her heart. In order to prevent her from getting engaged so early, her father had done everything he could to stop it. He even found an alliance. "Oh, Captain Xia, it's not that your girlfriend doesn't want to help you. It's just that your family is too powerful and difficult to resist. If you want to get engaged, it depends on whether you have the ability to stop the tide." Okay, let's not talk about this anymore. Brother, have some fruit." Yi Qian stuffed a tangerine into Li Jinyan's hand and glared at Li Jinyan. "Dad, have some fruit too. I want to pick this tangerine with Uncle Fu today. It's really sweet." Father Fu didn't want to talk about it either. He quickly ate the tangerine. Regarding Yi Qian's engagement, it seemed to have passed just like that. New Year's Eve came quickly. Every family put up spring festival couplets and hung lanterns. Qin Xiu's father, Ambassador Qin Dingkong, only came back on New Year's Eve. He took a few days out of his busy schedule to come home and visit his daughter, Qining, because she brought her boyfriend home for the new year. As a father, he couldn't possibly know nothing about his daughter's marriage partner. Jiuqian Emperor. Note: enter Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5525, Panda Persuasion. Chapter 5526. Bustle. After learning about V8's situation, Ambassador Qin looked at the time. It was already 6 o'clock in the evening, and the food at home was already fragrant. He hurriedly said to Qin Xiu, hurry up, and invite your Grandpa Fu over for dinner. Look at my memory, I completely forgot about this. The Fu family is very lively this year. All the younger generations of the family are back. Old Master Fu won't be willing to come to our house for a big meal. Qin Xiu, who was serving the dishes, came back. Hearing this, Ambassador Qin's face lit up. Yuxing is back too? That's great. Uncle will be happy for a while. As for Yi Qian, Old Master Qin didn't mention it, so Ambassador Qin didn't know. The Fu family was indeed very lively this year. The old man took out the New Year's money and handed it to the siblings. Come. This is New Year's money. Grandpa wishes you a better and happier life in the future. Keep them well and open them after the festival. Grandpa knows that the two of you have a dangerous job now. You don't have to worry about the family. Grandpa's body is fine. I still want to see you two get married and have children. I still want to see you two live happily. If you two are well, Grandpa will be even better. The old man was also someone who had gone through dangerous situations. In his heart, he knew that his granddaughter and grandson were definitely not ordinary soldiers in the army. They were all carrying out high-risk missions. He knew this in his heart, but he did not point it out. The whole family worked hard for the country. The spirit of not being afraid of death and tiredness had long been branded in the blood of their family. He would not stop his grandchildren from being loyal to the country. He only hoped that when the two of them protected the country and others, they would not forget their own safety. The safety of his grandchildren was his greatest wish and his greatest hope. Thank you, grandfather. The siblings knew that this was the old man's kind intentions, so they accepted the generous red packets together and said many auspicious words. Li Jinyan glanced at Yi Qian, who kept spouting out auspicious phrases and secretly memorized a few phrases so that he could put them to good use. The old man was old, so he did not sit for too long. Father Fu accompanied the old man back to his room and helped him to sleep before coming out again. Yi Qian and Li Jinyan talked about work, and before they knew it, they had chatted for a long time. When Father Fu saw this, he decided to go back to his room and take a nap. He would wake up later to continue staying up. Just as midnight approached, Yi Qian's cell phone began to ring. His comrades and a few old friends had sent him New Year's greetings early in the morning. Yi Qian quickly browsed through the messages, but did not see Xia Jinyuan. He did not know what Xia Jinyuan was doing right now. He must be staying up late with his family. Further down, Yi Qian saw the anniversary. Every year during their anniversary, he would send her a message. Unfortunately, the number of times she replied to him could be counted with 3 fingers. Brother Yi Jian, who was looking at her phone, suddenly stopped talking because she saw her brother, who was as cold as an iceberg. There was a smile in the corner of his eyes as he looked at his phone. Yi Qian's intuition told her that he was definitely not smiling because of the messages from his comrades or friends. There was definitely something going on. Seeing this, Yi Qian did not disturb him. He thought about his boyfriend, whom he had not seen for a few days. She didn't know how the Xia family was doing. Captain Xia, who had sent a message this morning, said that Ms. Xiao had come to the Xia family last night. The whole family was having dinner outside with uncle and grandfather. Ms. Xiao, who had failed, told the servants of the Xia family that she would come again today. It was New Year's Eve. He wondered if his mother had come looking for him again. As Yi Qian was thinking about this, his cell phone suddenly rang. It was Xia Jinyuan. Tip: enter Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 55:26, Panda Lively. Chapter 55:27. Courage. The phone rang, and the other 3 pairs of eyes in the living room looked over. Li Jinyan spoke on behalf of Uncle Fu and the bodyguard. You, sixth brother, go back to your room and answer it. Uncle Fu stopped watching the Spring Festival Gala and said, go back to your room and answer it. Don't come down to watch. Rest early and wake up early. Before Yiqian could get up, Li Jinyan got up and said, Uncle Fu, you should rest early too. You should rest early too. Then he went upstairs with the phone in his hand. Yiqian was so surprised that he missed Xia Jinyuan's call. Big brother. Can't wait to go back to his room. Grandpa, your wish is about to come true. As the matchmaker, I don't have to show up anymore. Yiqian hurried upstairs and wanted to ask a few more questions. Li Jinyan heard footsteps behind him and quickened his pace. He opened the door and closed the door so quickly that Yiqian didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Looking at him, Big Brother seemed to be a little shy. After returning to his room, Yiqian called Xia Jinyuan back. Did you come upstairs to answer the phone? Xia Jinyuan's voice came from the other end of the phone. Yiqian could even hear family Xia chatting on the other end of the line. There's an update on my brother's side. I was distracted and missed your call. Yiqian lay comfortably on the bed. Even his voice sounded lazy. It's not the new year yet, and you're already calling me to wish me a happy new year. Although it's not the new year yet, whether it's the new year or every year in the future, I hope to spend it with you. Since I'm occupying you now, the first person to wish you a happy new year will be me. Xia Jinyuan didn't hesitate to say what was on his mind. Right now, I'm counting down the days. My great Captain Xia is thinking too much, Yiqian said with a smile. His heart was filled with sweetness, as if someone had fed him a big jar of honey. What sweets did you eat these past few days? Your mouth is so sweet. Every word that came out of his mouth was sweet to her heart. I don't like sweets. I only like you. Xia Jinyuan chuckled. I can't sleep at night thinking about you. Yiqian's heartbeat quickened when he heard this. He hurriedly said, You don't have anyone else with you, right? If anyone else were to overhear her words, she would be too ashamed to meet anyone in the Xia family. Don't worry, they're in the living room. I'll set off fireworks for my nephews in the yard. Xia Jinyuan laughed happily again. Besides, you're my girlfriend. Even if other people heard what I said, they couldn't say anything. Yiqian rolled around on the bed and said with a sweet smile, Fortunately, I went back to my room early. Otherwise, I would have been put on speaker. If you say something so shameless, my dad will explode again. She thought about it and recalled that her dad didn't seem to be so hostile to Xia Jinyuan before. Why did he explode at the mention of him? My dad seems to be very hostile to you now. You have to be careful. Yiqian lowered his voice and said, When you see my dad later, you have to be respectful. Don't let him catch you. Aren't you afraid that uncle will be angry if he finds out? Xia Jinyuan asked teasingly. Father-in-law wants his daughter to stay, but his daughter yearns for it. Father-in-law will be very angry. For his girlfriend, who is loyal to him, he would not back down no matter how difficult it was to deal with his father-in-law. Tip: enter Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 55:27, Panda Courage. Chapter 55:28. Break through. Xia Jinyuan, who was standing in the outer courtyard, narrowed his eyes and did not flinch. Knowing that Xia Jinyuan was teasing him, Yiqian smiled and said, My dad won't be angry with me, but he will definitely blame you for this. After another roll, she leaned over and pressed her elbow against the mattress. She did not feel tired and said sweetly, When the time comes, you'll be the unlucky one, Captain Xia. In that case, if I want to get a status this spring festival, I have to use all my skills. Xia Jinyuan sighed and said, It's hard to be a son-in-law. It's hard to be a son-in-law. Is it difficult to be a son-in-law? Yiqian smiled and asked, Why, are you scared? You want to back off? No, I like anything that is challenging and difficult. Xia Jinyuan immediately expressed his feelings. I must marry you, and no one can stop me. After Yi Qian heard this, he muttered, yes. In his heart, he thought, she believes in him. She has always believed in him. There was a short silence. After a while, Yi Qian said in a low voice, my father is not against our engagement. He just thinks it's too early. It won't be too late in 2 years. The engagement is not that simple. Don't get your hopes up. Yi Qian knew that both her grandfather and her father had her best interests at heart, so she stopped thinking about the engagement. She just wanted to see if Xia Jinyuan could convince her father. Then I'll think about how to please my future father-in-law. Xia Jinyuan's voice sounded a little helpless. His father-in-law was mighty, and his son-in-law did not dare to confront him head-on. He had to be gentle and use his wits to win. On the other side, the lively chatter of family Xia drifted into Yi Qian's ears. He could vaguely make out that big brother, second brother, and the others were all there. Yi Qian asked, are all 5 brothers here? And, as she spoke, the voice suddenly stopped. She heard the countdown from the TV. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Xia Jinyuan's deep and gentle voice drifted into her ear. Happy New Year, my love. Happy New Year, my love, Yi Qian replied gently. The first blessing of the new year came from both of them. There was a knock on the door, followed by Li Jinyan's voice. Are you still chatting? Uncle is waiting for us downstairs. Yi Qian immediately sat up from the bed and apologized to Xia Jinyuan, who was reluctant to hang up the phone. Captain Xia, my dad is in the living room. I have to hang up first. Please send my regards to all the elders in the family Xia. I wish them a happy new year and hope they will be safe, healthy, and happy. Knowing that his father-in-law was waiting for him, Xia Jinyuan did not dare to delay any longer and said, it would be the happiest thing in the new year if I can win the heart of a beauty. All right, go ahead. Don't keep your father-in-law waiting for too long. Also, send my regards to your grandfather, father-in-law, and brother-in-law, who is difficult to deal with. Don't stay up all night. Remember to sleep. Okay, you should sleep early too. After she finished speaking, she hung up the phone. Her Captain Xia always waited for her to hang up first. When she opened the door, Li Jinyan's New Year's greetings came in. Yi Qian smiled and wished him a speedy escape and that he could bring his girlfriend home soon. Li Jinyan smiled and did not reply. It might not be impossible for him to escape. Yi Qian, who knew about the situation, happily went downstairs. When she saw Father Fu, she immediately said, Happy New Year, Dad. Your daughter wishes you good health in the new year. I wish you a safe and healthy new year. Yes, I'll take it. Father Fu smiled and sent his New Year's greetings to the younger generation in the family. After a while, Father Fu said with a jealous expression, You were only thinking about your family Xia just now. You're only thinking about your dad now. Tip: enter Panda Literature into the search engine and you will find this website. Thank you. Breakthrough. Chapter 55-29. A grown girl can't be kept at home. Sigh. A grown girl can't be kept at home. Father Fu was jealous. Dad. Yi Qian pulled on Father Fu and acted coquettishly. She wasn't very good at acting coquettishly, but there didn't seem to be a better way. You're feeling guilty, right? Dad forgives you. Father Fu didn't want to make things difficult for his daughter. He gave Yi Qian a red packet that he had prepared beforehand. I hope you'll be safe, healthy, and happy in the new year. Come home more often when you're free. As for Dad, I'll try to keep in touch with you. Thank you, Dad. Yi Qian continued to hold on to Father Fu, accepting the warmth from family. Father Fu gave Li Jinyan another red packet. He didn't wish him anything other than to end his singlehood as soon as possible. Li Jinyan, who was urged to get married, took the red packet and finally said, I'll try my best to fight for it. Father Fu knew there was hope when he heard this. He patted Li Jinyan's shoulder hard and laughed out loud. Okay. Uncle will wait. Yi Qian leaned on Father Fu's shoulder. The smile in her eyes was the happiest smile. Home was very warm. Yi Qian, who had lived 2 lives, cherished this warmth very much. Li Jinyan, who could only feel the warmth of home at his maternal grandparents' house, also had a faint smile on his face. Although it was just a faint smile, His cold eyes were filled with warmth and gentleness. Although his surname was Li, he had always been a member of the Fu family. Seeing Yi Qian obediently leaning on Father Fu, the taciturn Li Jinyan said to Father Fu, "Uncle, my sister is like a baby who hasn't been weaned off milk. I never thought she would have such a side to her." It was only at home that Li Jinyan spoke more. He wasn't as cold as he was outside, and no one dared to approach him. Yi Qian coughed awkwardly at Li Jinyan's words. She wasn't that childish, but Yi Qian smiled and said something even more childish. "I want to be a 3-year-old baby by my dad's side. My dad is happy too. Isn't that right, Dad?" "Ah, happy. Dad is very happy." The scholarly Father Fu was once again coaxed by Yi Qian into beaming with joy. He, would forever be his daughter's harbor for the rest of her life, shielding her from the wind and rain without question. The New Year bell had already rung, and the new year was coming with good wishes. The TV was broadcasting the joyous first day of the new year. The whole country was celebrating and spending the new year together. At 12 o'clock, Yi Qian returned to his room. He replied to the messages of New Year's greetings to the cadets who had now gone their separate ways, as well as to his comrades who were still on duty. He even spoke with Jiasin on the phone for 15 minutes, only going to bed after 2 o'clock in the morning. The next morning, he woke up according to his usual routine. The family's bodyguard, Uncle Fu, had also come back early in the morning and was preparing breakfast in the kitchen. Yi Qian gave out the red packets that she had prepared the day before. Although it wasn't a lot of money, it was more or less a token of appreciation. It could also be considered as an auspicious new year. Every year, the old man would also prepare red packets like this. However, after Father Fu reminded her yesterday, she immediately prepared red packets for little Yu and Uncle Fu. Yi Qian woke up on time. Li Jinyan also maintained a routine in the army and woke up early in the morning. When he saw Yi Qian giving red packets to Uncle Fu and little Yu, Li Jinyan also took out a red packet that he had prepared beforehand and gave it to them. Uncle Fu took the red packet and couldn't help but laugh. "It's really worth it to not go home this year. I got 4 red packets in one go." 9 Heaven's Divine Emperor Tip. Enter Panda Literature into the search engine and you will find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5529. Betrayal. A grown girl cannot be kept at home. Chapter 5530. Confrontation. The bodyguard, Xiao Yu, also received 4 red packets and followed Uncle Fu to send his New Year greetings. Father Fu and the old man had not woken up yet. It was 5:30 in the morning. Not many people could get up so early. Then, the 2 siblings did the same thing and walked toward the door. "You slept late last night, but still managed to wake up early. Not bad." Li Jinyan took a step back and let Yi Qian go first. Yi Qian, who was walking in front, replied with a smile, "Aren't you the same? You're used to it." Then he said, "The weather is good. There's no snow. Why don't we go out for a run?" "Yes, let's go together." Li Jinyan first took out Yi Qian's sports shoes from the shoe cabinet, then took out his own. When Yi Qian bent down to put on his shoes, Li Jinyan seemed to have noticed something. He raised his hand and tugged at the back of Yi Qian's collar. "New clothes? Did Xia Jinyuan buy it?" Based on his understanding of his sister, it was unlikely that she would buy new clothes all year round. Yi Qian tugged at her short jacket, lifted her feet, and tugged at her pants, as well as the light blue turtleneck she was wearing underneath. "From head to toe, I look brand new." He bought all. "Brother, you have to remember to buy clothes for sister-in-law in the future." Yi Qian thought about how he wouldn't be able to meet Xia Jinyuan today, so he was still wearing a convenient pantsuit, which he had bought 2 days ago. Then, she changed into a pair of sports shoes that she had specially bought for running. She put on a new set of clothes and went out for a run with Li Jinyan. Uncle Fu, who was busy in the kitchen, heard the commotion and quickly ran out. He said to the 2 brothers who were about to open the door, "Xiao Jian, Xiao Jin, go out and exercise first. You can have breakfast when you come back." "All right. Thank you for your hard work, Uncle Fu." Yi Qian responded in a crisp voice, then ran out of the Fu residence's main gate with Li Jinyan. Yi Qian was not very familiar with Dangawei Garden. so she did not walk around outside. She kept following Li Jinyan. Li Jinyan didn't slow down on purpose, but Yi Jian kept following closely behind him without looking like she was struggling at all. With the intention of testing Yi Qian's endurance, Li Jinyan suddenly sped up when he reached the middle of the track. In the blink of an eye, it was as if his legs were on a motor. In the blink of an eye, he was several meters away. Dangui Garden was not an ordinary residential area. All the buildings were on the same level. Dangui Garden was a small mountain next to the ecological park. The mountain was about the same height as Xiangshan. Villas in the architectural style of the Republic of China were built along the mountain. Therefore, the roads and paths in the mountain were all paved along the hillside. Even walking required a bit of physical strength. However, the garden was elegant and quiet. The air and scenery were excellent. The older generation who lived here loved to walk along the paths and roads as exercise. Li Jinyan chose the path for normal traffic. It was a path that went up to the roof of the car. Running up the path was already very strenuous. After running for 30 minutes, he suddenly sped up and ran several meters away. From this, it could be seen that Li Jinyan's stamina was indeed very good. But Yi Qian was not bad either. He suddenly sped up and deliberately looked back. Such an obvious challenge. How could Yi Qian not see it? The challenge had been issued, so he had to accept it. Come on, let's fight. Who's afraid of who? Yi Qian, who was never afraid and would only become more courageous as the battle progressed, also sped up. Early in the winter morning, the temperature was almost minus 10 degrees Celsius, but the two siblings were not afraid of the cold at all. They began to compete in strength. Yi Qian had never lost in a competition of endurance. No, it should be said that Yi Qian had never lost in any competition. There was no first place in literature, and there was no second place in martial arts. If there was a fight, it would naturally be to fight for first place. Tip: enter Panda Literature into the search engine and you will find this website. Thank you. Chapter 55-30, Betrayal Confrontation. Chapter 55-31. Competing no matter how cold the weather was, after running for half an hour, the body would have warmed up. At this moment, the sweat on the top of his head was white. Under the illumination of the street lamps on both sides of the road, he looked like a fairy. Li Jinyan heard the footsteps behind him getting closer and closer. He smiled and sped up again, wanted to see if Yi Qian could catch up to him. In terms of running speed, even Xia Jinyuan was defeated by him. As for Yi Qian, he had never run with Li Jinyan before, so he didn't know how abnormal his brother's running ability was. Seeing him speed up again, a trace of astonishment flashed in her eyes. Not only was she not scared off, she was even more interested. The armed police patrolling in front of them saw a group of black figures suddenly running on the road and subconsciously walked to the side. Two groups of black figures ran past like two tornadoes. The wind was so strong that it felt like it was squeezing their faces. The leading squad leader waited for the two groups of black figures to disappear, then immediately stood in line and said with a serious face, "Did you see that? Did you see that? That's what speed is. Look at your usual speed. You're already panting like an old ox when running on a mountain road. Look at the others. They're running on a mountain road as if it's flat ground. When will you be like them?" Even the company commander would smile in his dreams. The armed police were standing guard in Dangui Garden. They also had training arrangements, so they didn't relax just because they were security guards. On the contrary, all the people living here were the older generation who had contributed greatly to the country. They had to be vigilant at all times to prevent people with bad intentions from entering Dangui Garden. Their responsibility was heavy and they couldn't afford to be careless. Therefore, they increased the amount of training every day and no one skimped on the materials. They also didn't pant like an old ox when running like the class leader said. They were just a bit worse compared to Li Jinyan and Yi Qian. Facing the class leader's education, the comrades didn't have any objections. They also saw that the two people who ran past were indeed faster than them. From today onwards, all of you will run faster. No one will get away with it. Do you understand? Understood. 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 A few strong and powerful voices came, startling a few winter sparrows in the forest. They chirped and flapped their wings, flying into the hazy, early morning fog. The siblings, who were still wrestling, did not expect that the guard would increase the morning jog because of them. An hour later, they were getting further and further away from the top of the mountain. Li Jinyan was still running in front, and Yi Qian was still hot on his heels. At this point, Yi Qian knew that his brother's endurance was extraordinary. He was definitely one of the best in the army. They had arrived at the top of the mountain. On the mountain, there was an antique octagonal pavilion that resembled the Ming and Qing dynasties. The pavilion was surrounded by flat ground paved with large bluestone. When the weather was good, the older generation would climb up the mountain to enjoy the scenery, play chess, exercise, and enjoy the leisure time of old age. After finishing the run, Yi Qian did not immediately sit down to rest. She had just finished running, so it was not the right time to rest. She needed a walk for her breathing to calm down and her heartbeat to normal before sitting down. As she walked, she said to Li Jinyan, who was also sweating like her, "Brother, not many people can beat you with your speed. I was quite confident before, but later on, the only goal left was to not lose you. Luckily, I didn't lose face for the army and kept chasing." Note: enter Panda Literature into the search engine and you'll find this website. Chapter 55:31, Panda Competition. Chapter 55:32. Small sample to be able to keep up with Li Jinyan and not get lost was already quite impressive. Li Jinyan was also very satisfied with Yi Qian's results. It was as if frost had fallen on the ground, and there was a hint of a smile in his cold eyes. You were able to hold on and not let go. You passed. Pass or not, I want to be outstanding. There is no second place in martial arts. You still want to be first. Yi Qian was never one to admit defeat when it came to such matters. At this moment, Li Jinyan and Yi Qian were walking side by side. Hearing Yi Qian's question, Li Jinyan's thin lips curved slightly as he said calmly, "I've never lost in endurance races in the national martial art competition. Xia Jinyuan was also defeated by me. Even Captain Xia lost to you? His speed is considered fast in our team, but it's normal for him to lose to you. Even when I was racing with Team Xia, I rarely beat him." Yi Qian was not surprised. She had already experienced Li Jinyan's speed, so she knew what to expect. Therefore, she did not find it surprising that Xia Jinyuan lost to Li Jinyan. Everyone had their own strengths. Xia Jinyuan lost to Li Jinyan in running. In other aspects, such as close combat, Li Jinyan was not as good as Xia Jinyuan. On the other hand, Yi Qian was the leader in shooting and rarely met a match. "I underestimated my opponent this time. Let's fight again next time." Yi Qian, who refused to admit defeat, issued a challenge in advance, intending to compete with his elder brother again. Li Jinyan nodded happily, indicating that he would accompany him to the end. Walking to the edge of the platform, Yi Qian, who had climbed to the top of the mountain for the first time, looked at the scenery of the city. The sky had just brightened, and the streetlights were still on. The tranquility of the morning, the prosperity of the city, and the warmth of the family made Yi Qian involuntarily smile deeply. Li Jinyan looked at his sister, and suddenly there was a low chuckle. "Why are you suddenly laughing?" Yi Qian sized up Li Jinyan with a baffled expression. Then he thought of something and dragged out his words, "Oh, I..." Before she could finish, Li Jinyan interrupted her. "Don't overthink it. But I thought about how you acted coquettishly last night. Do you also act coquettishly in front of Xia Jinyuan?" "Of course not," Yi Qian retorted. "Why was she acting coquettishly with Xia Jinyuan? Haven't you noticed that I'm not good at acting coquettishly?" She really did not realize that she was very good at acting coquettishly in front of her uncle, just like a baby. Afraid that Yi Qian would be unhappy, Li Jinyan took the initiative to talk about himself. "What you said to Grandpa last night, was it true?" Li Jinyan had never considered marriage, nor had he taken the initiative to bring it up. This was the first time he had brought it up in front of Yi Qian. Yi Qian did not want to answer him so readily. "Humph," He didn't even say anything last night when he asked him if there was something going on. Who I invite over has nothing to do with you. If you really don't like it, you can go out and have fun on that day. Yi Qian still remembered what she said last night. Li Jinyin could tell at a glance that his sister was taking revenge on him for hiding the truth from her. This girl used to be so cautious when she first joined the team. She didn't even dare to look him in the eye for a long time. Now, she could even ride on his shoulders and behave atrociously. Since you don't like it, I don't have to do anything. Just treat it as bringing a friend over. Is it tomorrow or the day after tomorrow? Or will it be a few days later? No, I have to go back to the team in a few days. I have to invite her over before I go back. If she likes to come over, I can invite her to Brother Wu's racetrack to ride horses and do target practice together. In any case, brother, don't worry. It has nothing to do with you. Note, enter Panda Literature into the search engine and you'll find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5532, Panda Small Sample. Chapter 5533, Misunderstanding. Her antics gave Li Jinyin a headache. He frowned and asked seriously, "Where's Yi Qian? Did you hide her?" This little girl was teasing him. She didn't have the guts to do so in the past. Xia Jinyuan had led her astray. He had to settle the score with him later. I don't have any opinions on who you bring back. You don't have to tell me. Besides, didn't you say it had nothing to do with me? Then why are you talking to me? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to myself. Yi Jian retorted with a smile. Out of the corner of her eye, she noticed that the usually indifferent Li Jinyan's eyes flickered for a few seconds. Yi Jian was instantly enlightened and understood something. She. Look at her brain. She only thought that her brother wouldn't make the first move, but she didn't know that there was a secret behind it. For example, she was afraid because she had no experience. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! She discovered a shocking secret. Her big brother, who was known as the Devil King by his comrades, was actually this shy. He was even ruthless to her, his own sister, during training. TSK. His innocent look was really cute. He was obviously moved, but he was still holding on. What was the point of holding on like this? Could it be that he was too shy to say it? That must be it. Because he was shy, he didn't dare to say it. Yi Qian supported herself with both hands on the stone railing beside the platform. She was laughing so hard that her mouth was cramping. She realized that her comrades, especially the bachelors, couldn't find girlfriends not because they weren't good enough, but because they were too shy. Captain Xia. Oh, Captain Xia, you're really a special case. You're so thick-skinned when it comes to chasing girlfriends. If you could share with your comrades, like her brother, her devil brother wouldn't have to worry about not having enough girlfriends. Would old Master Xia still need to worry? Not at all. Li Jinyin had long noticed that Yi Jian's shoulders were trembling and shaking. One look, and he knew that she was smiling naughtily again. Headache. She used to be a good and innocent little sister, but now she has been assimilated by Xia Jinyuan. Regarding this, Li Jinyin really wanted to beat Xia Jinyuan up and warn him not to lead his sister astray. They stayed at the top of the mountain for about half an hour. Seeing that it was already 7 o'clock, the two siblings jogged down from the top of the mountain. After running a lap, they didn't feel tired at all. On the contrary, they felt more energetic and very comfortable. This time, they did not take the main road, but took a detour. They still had to pass by the Qin family's courtyard before returning to the Fu family. Yi Qian and Li Jinyin ran around the large garden in the Dangui garden, passing by the entrance of the Qin family's home. When the Yi family and Li Jinyin passed by the Qin family's entrance, Mrs. Qin, who had just woken up on the second floor, happened to open the curtains. She pulled the curtains to one side and abruptly stopped in her tracks. She stared in shock at the figure of the young man who passed by the Qin family's entrance. This. Isn't this old master's grandson, Jinyin? The girl beside him. This. Isn't this Yi Qian? Ding Kong, quick, come over here. Mrs. Qin, who was still holding the curtains, quickly called her husband over. Come over quickly. Quick. What's wrong? Ambassador Qin Ding Kong, who was tying his tie, walked over. It's so early in the morning. What did you find so surprising? Look at the two young men in front. That's old master's grandson, Li Jinyan, right? Am I seeing things? Mrs. Qin was still afraid that she had seen wrongly and pulled her husband to confirm. Jiutian Divine Emperor. Tip: enter Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5533. Panda Misunderstanding. Chapter 5534. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? It's so early in the morning. My eyes are playing tricks on me. Did I see Yi Qian again? An old master's grandson is accompanying her. WWW, what's going on? Why can't I understand what's going on? That girl, WWW, whose girlfriend is she now? Could it be that she's with the family Xia's son and Li Jinyan at the same time? Stepping on two boats? No, that's not right. Even Xiao, seems to be her target. Does she want to step on three boats at once? Isn't she afraid of capsizing? Congratulations. After Madame Li and Du Jiai's constant attempts to smear Yi Jian's reputation, Madame Qin's impression of Yi Jian had gone from bad to worse, to the point where it seemed like she would never be able to make a comeback. I think so. Qin Dingkong glanced at her and wasn't too sure. I haven't seen Jin Yin in a long time. My eyes aren't that good. It's too far away, so I can't recognize him. Qin Dingkong had been abroad for many years, while Li Jinyan had been in the military all year round. Although their families were close, they hadn't seen each other for many years. I haven't seen Jinyan in 5 years, but I can still recognize him. Mr. Qin glanced at her and didn't understand why she was so surprised. It's not like you don't know Jinyan. What's there to be surprised about? Madame Qin glared at her husband. I'm not surprised. Take a good look at the girl with Jinyan. That girl beside him is Yi Qian. She's the Yi Qian that old Madame Dad mentioned last night. Didn't you say you wanted to thank her properly? Oh, she's the girl. Qin Dingkong's interest was piqued. So, she's Xiao Yi. Not bad. I can see the military vibe from her back. No wonder old Madame Dad likes her. Madame Qin rolled her eyes at her husband when she saw that he didn't grasp the main point of her words. Aren't you surprised? Why is she here so early in the morning? And why is she together with old master's grandson? What's there to be surprised about? Didn't she rush to the Qin family when Dad fainted? Naturally, he lives in the Dangui garden. Moreover, it is very close to the Qin family and the Fu family. Qin Dingkong still didn't get the main point of Mrs. Qin's words. Xiao Yi, who had accompanied his father for most of the night, appeared in Dangui garden early in the morning. Should he be surprised? There was no need to be surprised. Mrs. Qin was shocked. I'm so angry that I'm dizzy. What I'm surprised about is why she's with your grandson. His face was full of shock and disbelief. She's here, and she's with Jinyan. That's very strange. What's wrong? Why are you so concerned about other people's affairs so early in the morning? What if it's a young man's girlfriend who brought him here for the new year? Mr. Qin looked at Mrs. Qin strangely. He didn't understand why his wife was meddling in other people's business so early in the morning. My dear wife, today is the first day of the new year. According to the old customs, we should pay a New Year's visit to the elders. We should also pay our New Year's greetings to Old Master and Old Madam. Quick, pack up and go downstairs. Ambassador Qin Dingkong didn't think there was anything wrong with it at all. He was also puzzled by his wife's surprise. What New Year's greetings? Look at her. Doesn't she look like she came here early in the morning to pay her New Year's greetings? She clearly went out for a run with Jinyan. She went out for a run with Jinyan early in the morning? Qin Dingkong didn't want to say any more. After tying his tie, he walked to the dressing table and looked around. He took out a skincare bottle filled with water and handed it to Mrs. Qin. Come. Hurry up and put on some makeup. This is the kind of water you usually use, right? There's also mint in it. I think it'll help you wake up. Tip: enter Panda Literature in the search engine and you'll find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5534. Panda, are you seeing things? Chapter 5535. Meddlesome Ambassador Qin Dingkong's meaning was, don't be silly this early in the morning. Wake up quickly and stop meddling in other people's business. Mrs. Cheen, who had snatched the water bottle, glared at her husband. Really, he didn't know anything and only knew how to talk nonsense. Last night, he was so happy and said that Yi Qian must be a good girl. Oof, is she a good girl? The more Mrs. Cheen thought about it, the more she felt that Yi Qian wasn't a good person. She was so good at seducing people. A few days ago, she was seducing Xiao. Now, she was running with old Master Fu's grandson early in the morning on the first day of the new year. She used to think that it was easy for foxes to appear in the entertainment industry, but she didn't expect that there would be such a vixen in the military. No, we can't let her get involved with our Qin family. Why are you still talking about thanking her? Xiao has already thanked her. The more Mrs. Qeen thought about it, the more she felt that she couldn't accept Yi Qian as her goddaughter. What if the Qeen family's reputation was ruined by a fickle girl like her? No, she couldn't let that happen. She couldn't let such a girl get involved with the Qeen family. When did you start caring about other people's business? Why are you so concerned about that girl? Qeen Dingkong saw the seriousness on his wife's face. The more he looked, the stranger he felt. Old madam likes her a lot. Why do you dislike her so much? Sai, you know me. I usually don't bicker with young people. But that Miss Yi, you don't know. That girl beside old Master Fu's grandson is amazing. Mrs. Qeen's tone changed when she mentioned Yi Qian. She couldn't hide her disgust. I thought that people were exaggerating, but now that I've seen it with my own eyes, I can see that this girl isn't simple. Being able to run with Jin Yin in the morning means that this girl isn't simple. Jin Yin's running speed is still fresh in my memory. Mr. Qeen didn't understand what Mrs. Qeen was trying to say. It's just a morning run, and you have so many emotions. It's not easy. You don't understand. Mrs. Qeen was a bit anxious. I'm not simple, not the kind of simple. Hey, why don't you understand? Mr. Qeen looked as if he didn't know what was going on and said, I don't know. You didn't even explain the situation clearly, so what could I know? I really don't understand anything. Come. Why don't you explain it to me so that you won't be anxious and have a headache? You're not in good health and have headaches from time to time, yet you're still worrying about other people's matters. Sai, why do you have to do this? Come, let's talk nicely. Don't be angry with me. Ambassador Qeen had always respected his wife. He had been abroad for many years, and his wife was the one who took care of the family. His wife had done her best to raise children and take care of the elderly. Even if there were imperfections, he would tolerate them and not be harsh on them, because he really didn't have the right to be harsh to his wife. With his wife guarding him from behind, he could focus on his work at the front. Mrs. Qeen knew that her husband had always been tolerant of her. Seeing that he was patiently listening to her explanation, the anger in her heart naturally eased a lot. Didn't our father suddenly get sick that night? That night, only the old madam and Xiao were here. When Xiao Ying, and Xiao Ying's boyfriend rushed to the hospital, this Miss Yi was holding the old madam's arm. When I saw it, my heart skipped a beat. At that time, the old madam looked at Miss Yi with an expression that said that she couldn't let Xiao marry her as his granddaughter-in-law. Tip: enter Panda Literature in the search engine and you'll find this website. Thank you. Chapter 55-35, Panda Troublesome. Chapter 55-36. Thinking back to that night at the hospital, Mrs. Qeen still had lingering fears and looked like she would faint at any moment. Even her voice was a little weak. You don't know how I felt at that time. Dad fainted and was sent to the hospital. When I saw old madam's expression, I felt as if my whole body was soaked in a cold pool, and I almost fainted. Mrs. Qeen said a lot in one breath and had to take a break to continue. Qeen Dingkong was still waiting to hear. He couldn't help but laugh. Madam, how would I know if I didn't see it? Come on, continue. You haven't reached the main point. The main point is, why does old madam like Miss Yi, but you hate her so much? It's hard for me to understand. Old madam had always been good at judging people. She was much more experienced than his wife. A girl that old madam thought was good would definitely not be bad. Moreover, a girl that old madam liked and wanted Xiao to marry as her granddaughter-in-law must be a good girl. But where did his wife's disgust come from? Aya, it's that girl just now. I don't know where that girl came from. Before we left, she was by the old madam's side and kept holding on to the old madam. The old madam seems to like her quite a lot. Xiaoing went up and said a few polite words. Do you know what she said? She said that it was her duty. Mrs. Qin was angry when she mentioned what happened that night. Who was she to our Qin family? How could she say it was her duty? How's the matter of duty? Mr. Qin still didn't understand where Mrs. Qin's main point was. He rubbed his forehead and sighed. Madam, what's your main point? I need to know the main point. The main point? I'm talking about the main point now. What about it? Don't you think about it? What's her relationship with our family? How could our family's matters become her duty? And I think Xiao's attitude toward her is very unusual. I've never seen Xiao treat any girl like that. Mrs. Qin's mood became bad. It was the first day of the new year, and she found herself unhappy. This Yi Qian, the more she thought about it, the more she felt that she was a vixen. Her relationship with family Xia and little Six was unclear, and she also had an ambiguous relationship with Old Master's grandson. Why did she want to pull the Qin family into it? No way. Xiao has an unusual attitude toward her? You mean? Qin Dingkong also frowned, but his frown was not because Yi Qian said, "It's my job." Instead, it was because he felt like his son was in love with her unrequited love. Men and women had different priorities when it came to certain things. Mrs. Qin, on the other hand, thought that her husband already knew what she wanted to say, so she angrily slapped the dressing table. There's more to come. Do you know what old madam will say? Old madam has been holding Miss Ye's hand, saying that she wants to recognize her as our family's goddaughter and let her become Xiao's younger sister. Her son had a crush on a girl, and then the old madam pulled the girl that her son had a crush on to let her own madam recognize her as a goddaughter, turning the girl into a younger sister. If that was the case, wouldn't the feelings of the son be? Ambassador Qin Dingkong's expression became very solemn. We can't acknowledge this as a god relative. I'll talk to old madam first. That's right. I also think so. Our Qin family is also a famous family. How can we casually recognize a god relative? I don't know what kind of bewitching potion that Miss Yi gave our old madam to coax her to favor her so much. Mrs. Qin continued to think that her husband finally understood her painstaking efforts. The more she spoke, the more solemn her expression became. Note, enter Panda Literature in the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5536, Panda Talk. Chapter 5537. In fact, Ambassador Qin Dingkong and Mrs. Qin were not on the same channel at all. What they understood was completely different, and it was more than 1,000 miles apart. He was now very worried about his son. Could it be that the old madam couldn't see that Xiao was secretly in love with Miss Yi? Or did the old mistress see through it and did it on purpose? It was impossible for the old mistress not to see through it. If she had clearly seen through it and still acted like this, then there must be a reason behind it. It seemed that he had to secretly ask old madam, and he couldn't let madam, who was prejudiced against Miss Yi, know. Mrs. Qin wasn't prejudiced against Yi Qian. Instead, she was disgusted with her. She didn't even want to mention Yi Qian's name and directly called her girl. I really don't know where this girl comes from. Didn't you hear what Inger said when she came back from shopping 2 days ago? Shilin also knows her. She also told me that she and family Xia's sixth brother are in a relationship. Sixth brother also bought her a lot of clothes. Since she's in a relationship with the Xia family's sixth brother, don't you think she should go to the Xia family first, even if she's visiting the elders on the first day of a new year? But look at her. She came here early in the morning to run with old master's grandson. What was this? This was clearly an act with ill intentions. She must have put a lot of thought into this. Qin Dingkong raised his hand and interrupted his angry wife. Are you saying that Miss Yi is family Xia's sixth son, Master Xia's grandson, Xia Jinyuan's girlfriend? Was it because the old madam knew that Miss Yi was the girlfriend of the family Xia's sixth brother? Therefore, the old madam had the intention to propose to the wife in front of Xiao? If that was the case, then this matter could be explained. Mrs. Qin, on the other hand, was prejudiced against Yi Qian, so she didn't immediately think of the crux of the matter. Hearing this, Mrs. Cheen said in a low voice, "Yes." Since Inger had seen it with her own eyes, it definitely couldn't be fake. Previously, the madam also told me that family Xia-san had taken a fancy to Miss Yi. She reminded me to be careful and not let her get close to Xiao-er. At that time, I was still thinking that a girl who came from the mountains, even if she had some ability, it would be impossible for her to socialize with a few young masters. Now, I know that I was wrong. I shouldn't have let my guard Xia Jinyuan's family. Xiao-er's a family. Mrs. Cheen was so regretful that she wanted to beat her chest. All of our outstanding juniors in the capital are being toyed with by her. Don't you think this girl is amazing? When I saw that old madam really liked that Miss Yi, I comforted myself that it's not a big deal for Xiao-er to have a sister. But now that I think about it, I absolutely can't let her be related to our family. A girl like her may cause trouble for our family in the future. Ambassador Qin Dingkong didn't agree with Mrs. Cheen's words. After thinking carefully, he said, "That girl shouldn't be such a person. The old madam is quite good at judging people. If it's really like what you said, she can see it at a glance. She doesn't like her. I'm afraid there's some misunderstanding." Mrs. Cheen was a bit angry that he still thought it was a misunderstanding after she said so much. Misunderstanding? How can there be so many misunderstandings? The old madam is quite good at judging people, but she can't beat that girl's acting. That girl's acting skills are so good. Why would she enter the army? Wouldn't it be better for her to enter the entertainment industry? That way, her talent won't be wasted. She wants to climb up the Qin family and marry Xiao-er. Aye. Even if the old madam really likes her, I will oppose it even if I'm unfilial. Note, enter Panda Literature in the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 55-37. Chapter 55-38. Confused having said that, Qin Dingkong was almost sure that his wife had misunderstood Yi Qian. After pondering for a few seconds, Qin Dingkong asked with a smile, "You always say that Miss Yi has the intention to climb up the Qin family and even wants to marry Xiao-er. Then, let me ask, what do you want to ask? What else do you want to ask? Don't tell me that you didn't listen to what I said. Do you think that I'm deliberately lying to sow discord between you and old madam?" Mrs. Cheen wanted to slam the table, but fortunately, she was well-mannered and didn't actually slam the table. Instead, she clenched one hand into a fist and stared at her husband coldly. "What else do you want to ask? Calm down, calm down." Seeing that his wife was angry, Qin Dingkong smiled and got up with a good temper. He approached Mrs. Cheen and hugged her shoulder. "Why are you so agitated?" Her husband's gentle actions immediately extinguished the fire in Mrs. Cheen's heart. She used her hand to press against the dressing table to lightly hit Qin Dingkong's back. She sneered and said, all right. I knew you would have a lot of questions. Go ahead and ask. Let me ask you, have you ever seen Miss Yi alone with Xiao-er? Have you ever seen Miss Yi chasing after Xiao? Have you ever seen Miss Yi, like the daughter of the Du family, appear wherever Xiao-er is? Have you ever seen her do anything inappropriate to Xiao-er? Did she say anything ambiguous? He had never seen anything like that. Mrs. Cheen didn't know how to answer his questions. From Mrs. Cheen's expression, Ambassador Qin Dingkong already knew that there was no need for him to answer. She hadn't even seen Miss Yi talking to Xiao alone, let alone having any inappropriate behavior. Seeing that Mrs. Cheen was still angry, Qin Dingkong didn't want to make his wife unhappy on the first day of the new year. He let go of his wife and sat on the bed again, sighing. All right, don't think too much. You have to take good care of yourself." Unable to answer, Madame Qin threw the comb in her hand onto the dressing table. She thought about it carefully, although she really didn't see that girl having a close relationship with Xiao-er. But if she was really a good person, how could she be together with the Xia family's sixth brother and the old master's grandson? Besides, Jai had also said that he was a ruthless and selfish character who would do anything for the sake of his own interests. After thinking for a while, Mrs. Cheen turned to tell her husband, who was sitting on the bed, "I indeed didn't see what you asked. But listen carefully, you don't need to thank Miss Yi. Also, If the old madam asks you to recognize Miss Yi as your goddaughter, you must refuse her. Do you understand? You're not allowed to go against me. You have to stand on my side. I'll figure out myself first. You're not allowed to interfere. All right, all right. I understand. I won't immediately agree to the old madam's request. Qin Dingkong nodded and agreed. He was more inclined to believe the old madam. After asking a few questions, he was more certain that his wife had misunderstood. But Yi Qian, that's not right. This name, why did he seem to have heard it before? Yi Qian? He seemed to have heard it before. He couldn't remember it for a while. Note, enter Panda Literature in the search engine and you'll find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5538. Thank you, confused. Chapter 5539. Marriage. Not only did he need to investigate his wife, but he also needed to think carefully about where he had heard this name before. He must have heard it before. Otherwise, he wouldn't have found it familiar. Qin Dingkong felt that there was no need to continue the conversation. With his wife's intelligence, she would know what to do if he continued asking. It wasn't good to listen to them. Qin Dingkong comforted her. All right, it's the new year. Don't say such things early in the morning. It would be bad if old madam heard it. I think that you might have misunderstood something. Perhaps there are other secrets that you don't know about. Stepping on 3 boats with 1 foot, his wife also saw the wind as the wind, said the rain as the rain. His son and family Xia's 2 juniors were not easy to fool. Old Master Qin's grandson, Jin Yin, was a young man who had escaped from a tiger's den. Would it work if she played tricks in front of him? If Miss Yi was really as bad as his wife said, it might be possible for one person to fall for it, but it was impossible for everyone to fall for it. There might be other secrets that they didn't know about. What other secrets could there be? It's just what we saw, Mrs. Qin muttered. The more she thought about it, the more she felt that Yi Qian wasn't a good person. Her husband hadn't even met Yi Qian, so why was he speaking up for her? Wash up and go downstairs. Don't mention this later. Ambassador Qin didn't want to argue with Mrs. Qin about this, so he went into the bathroom first. However, he couldn't help but remind Mrs. Qin, since old madam likes it, let's go along with it. If she's really as bad as you say, you can investigate first and show the evidence to old madam. That's the right thing to do. If she doesn't understand it properly and only listens to others, she'll be at a disadvantage. She won't be liked and will be hated. Got it. Mrs. Qin raised her eyes and replied unhappily. Of course, she knew what was important. Their family's mood couldn't be ruined by that girl early in the morning. However, she still had to remind her mother-in-law. What if she brought this up during the new year? He did not know if that girl was still at the Fu family's house. He might as well expose that girl's true colors when he went to the Fu family to pay his New Year's greetings. It seemed like a good idea to let old Master Qin and Jinyan see Yi Qian's sinister intentions. As she thought about it, Mrs. Qin already had a plan in mind. Although it was not good to do such a thing on the first day of the new year, she could not watch the old man and the child of the Li family be deceived. It was better to have a short pain than a long pain. After making up her mind, Mrs. Qin fixed her makeup and went downstairs with her husband, Qin Dingkong. Early in the morning of the new year, old Master Qin got someone to help him out of the room and downstairs. The family ate breakfast together in a lively manner. V8 Yang Shulin was also there. In just a few days, he had already been accepted by the Qin family. The old madam had even urged him last night when he planned to get married. Qining took out the household register that she had stolen with much difficulty and slammed it on the table. We can get married at any time. After the new year, when he returns to the team, he will immediately submit a marriage application report and investigate our family's 18 generations of ancestors. Then we can get married. V8 was stunned by his girlfriend's speed. A mouthful of rice was left in his mouth, and it took him a while to swallow it down. Marriage? Should he listen to his girlfriend and apply immediately when he returns to the military? Jiutian Emperor. Note, enter Panda Literature into the search engine and you will find this website. Thank you. Translator. Henyi Translations Marriage. Chapter 5540. Visit the Chin family's breakfast was sumptuous, and V8 enjoyed it. He kept putting food into Chin Ying's bowl. Chin Ying complained that the pickled vegetables were a little salty and thirsty. V8 immediately put down the bowl and poured a glass of warm water for Chin Ying. Because of his profession and the fact that it was his first time having a girlfriend for the new year, all the Chin family members were meeting for the first time as well. V8 carried on the glorious tradition of being a man of few words and actions, which made the Chin family like him even more. Seeing this, old Madam Chin laughed. "Shulin, don't spoil Inger too much. She will really become a baby if you spoil her too much. Grandma, you are afraid that he will not treat me well, but you are also afraid that he will spoil me too much. What do you think he should do?" Chin Ying liked to be spoiled. Although she was independent and could solve everything by herself, she still hoped that the husband she had chosen would be able to support her. V8 said honestly, "Old madam, Ing is with me wholeheartedly. If I don't treat her well, I will be a heartless person." "Ha ha! Inger, you have good taste." Chin Ding Kong was happy to see this. All fathers hoped that their daughters would be spoiled by their future son-in-law. However, their daughters should respect their husbands too. "I am assured that Shulin will spoil Inger. But Inger, you have to respect your husband too. You can't take his love for granted. Loving each other and understanding each other is the way to a long-term marriage." "I will, Dad. Don't worry. When have I ever done anything to make you worry?" Chin Ying poured a glass of red wine for herself and stood up first. "Come, let's toast to Grandpa and Grandma first." On the eve of the new year, old Madam Chin's third son brought the whole family to celebrate the new year with the Chin family. The whole family had to be divided into 2 tables to sit down. With Chin Ying taking the lead, the atmosphere at breakfast was very lively. Mrs. Chin took the opportunity to mention the New Year greeting at the Fu family. "Dad, old madam, why don't we go to old Master Fu's house first after breakfast?" In the past, old Master Fu always spent the New Year alone. Now that Yuxing and Jinyan are back, old Master Fu must be very happy. "Let's go visit him quickly. Maybe we can even get a big red packet." Old Madam Chin immediately said, "That's right. Let's invite all the young people over and see how many red packets old Master Fu has prepared." Chin suddenly said, "Although Uncle Yuxing and Jinyan are both back, old Master's house is still a little quiet compared to ours. Why don't we spend more time talking to old Master later?" His sudden words made everyone's hands at the table stop moving. The originally lively atmosphere became a little gloomy. Chin Ying glanced at Chin Yi and then looked at old Madam Chin. Chin Ying wanted to drag the brainless Chin Yi out and educate him. "Is families is S. S, yes. Is it because I can't go?" "That's right. With my status, I don't have the right to pay old Master Fu a visit. I'm sorry, but I have to apologize with wine." Qin Yuxing picked up his glass of red wine and finished it in one gulp. Then he tipped the glass upside down to show that he had finished it all. Jiuqian Emperor. Note: enter Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Translator. Henyi Translations visit. Chapter 5541. Face down, this kind of behavior was the most unpleasant. Even Qin Dingbua, who wasn't stingy, saw that his illegitimate son was behaving inappropriately. He pulled a long face and said, "What nonsense are you spouting? Sit down and eat obediently." Seeing this, the Qin family's daughter-in-law immediately stood up to smooth things over. "Old madam, old master, our family salutes you too." The eldest son, Qin Dinghai, stood up and led the family to toast the two elders and send their blessings. Only then did the atmosphere return to normal. Madame Qin saw her sister-in-law's family, especially her eldest niece-in-law, and then thought that her son liked a vixen who relied on her face to coax people. She couldn't help but feel irritated in her heart. Seeing this, Qining wanted to roll her eyes at her mother. Here it comes again. Here it comes again. It's as if not finding a wife from a noble family would be letting her down and the whole family down. Grandfather and grandmother didn't have such a high view of family status. So why did her family's empress care so much? Before preparing gifts to go to the Fu family, Madame Qin held old Madame Qin's arm and whispered, "Old Madam, Ding Kong and I saw your favorite Missy come to Dangue Garden early in the morning. She even accompanied Jin Yin for a morning run. Maybe we'll meet her later. Isn't she Family Xia's sixth brother's girlfriend? Why did she come to find Jin Yin so early in the morning? Even if she's visiting the elders, she should go to the Family Xia first. She actually came to Dangue Garden. Alas, these girls nowadays, I really don't understand." Old Madame Qin frowned slightly. After so many years, how could she not see through her daughter-in-law? No wonder she proposed to go to the Fu family early to pay a New Year's visit so enthusiastically. It turned out that this was the case. Now she was even listening to her. Did she think that this old woman was blind and couldn't see what she wanted? Her intention was very obvious. She was obviously targeting Unyielding. On the first day of the new year, she wanted to cause trouble. Originally, she thought that her daughter-in-law only had a strong view of family status. Because Unyielding was with Family Xia's sixth brother and didn't choose Xiao, she, as a mother, was partial to her son, so she felt uncomfortable in her heart. However, from the looks of it now, he was a little confused. Who would be the one getting slapped in the face on the first day of the new year? Who would be the one getting slapped in the face in the end? Old Madame Qin felt that her daughter-in-law needed to learn a lesson. After all, it was the first day of the new year, the first day of the new year. If something really happened, both families would be unhappy. If the two families really became enemies because of this matter, then the gains would not make up for the losses. After all, she was the granddaughter that old Master Fu had painstakingly obtained. She was the most legitimate granddaughter of the Fu family. If someone came to provoke her on the first day of the Lunar New Year, the relationship that had been built over the past few decades might have faded. Forget it, it's better not to go there. If he wanted to teach her a lesson, he would have a chance in the future. You are prejudiced against Unyielding. If she is really in the Fu family, you will not have anything good to say to her. How about this? Let Ding Kong take Xiao and the other juniors there. As for you, accompany me and take good care of your father at home. Old Master Qin had just been discharged from the hospital a few days ago. It was cold outside. Even if the Qin family was only a few hundred meters away from the Fu family, the whole family was worried about letting him go to the Fu family. Therefore, they left their eldest daughter-in-law to take care of him and the mute Qini. Old Madame Qin also didn't directly embarrass Mrs. Qin in front of the juniors. She secretly arranged things and kept Mrs. Qin by her side to prevent her from doing anything stupid. Tip: enter Panda Literature in the search engine and you'll find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5541, Panda Face. Chapter 5542, Persuasion 1. Madame Qin couldn't keep a straight face, but she still maintained a smile. How could she not understand her mother-in-law's words after living to this age? She didn't want her to go to the Fu family and expose that little vixen's true colors. Old Madam, old Master treats me well. I've already packed everything and we'll go together. If the younger generation sees him, they'll think that I don't want to go and pay old Master a visit. Qin Xiao, who was walking behind her, said faintly, "Mom, you should go home with Grandma and take care of Grandpa." He naturally understood what his mother wanted to do. Xiao, Madame Qin's expression was a bit gloomy, but when she saw old Madame Qin's expression become even gloomier, she couldn't help but feel a bit scared. Qin Xiao didn't want to embarrass Madame Qin, so he said, "Dad and I will be more at ease if you stay and take care of Grandpa and Grandma." Seeing that her son was still giving her a way out, Madame Qin didn't want to make things difficult for Qin Xiao. Since old Madame Qin didn't agree, she couldn't be stubborn. "Xiao, when you go over later, bring my jar of Jinjun made to your Grandpa Fu." Old Master Qin, who knew what was going on, looked at his daughter-in-law coldly. Ding Kong's wife, thank you for your hard work today. Even old Master Qin came out to stop her. Madame Qin's face was a bit pale. Was it because of that girl, Yi Qian? Why was she the only one in the wrong? "Dad, isn't that your most treasured tea?" I'm afraid old master won't accept it. Madam Chin could only pretend that she didn't see the coldness in old Master Chin's eyes. She lowered her head and said, "We've also prepared a gift for old master. You should keep your most treasured tea for yourself. What you treasure doesn't necessarily mean that others treasure it too. Similarly, what others treasure may not be worth anything in your eyes." Old Madam Chin said faintly, but the meaning of her words was very obvious. It was up to Madam Chin to see if she understood. Mrs. Chin was too prejudiced against Yi Qian. Moreover, she had personally witnessed Yi Qian talking bad about Li Jinyan, coaxing old Madam Chin, Madam Li, and Du Jiai. With Qin Ying's words, even someone as smart as Mrs. Chin could not help but get into a dead end. Under the pressure of the two elders of the Qin clan, he lowered his head and didn't dare to say a word. However, he became even more wary of Yi Qian and didn't dare to let Qin Xiu meet Yi Qian alone. It was all because of that little minx that her family was in a mess early in the New Year's morning. She would never recognize her as her goddaughter and would never let her get involved with Xiu again. "Mom, don't think too much. Just stay at home with Grandpa and Grandma. What you're worried about will never happen." Qin Xiu glanced at his mother. Grandpa and Grandma had already warned her, but she still couldn't understand and accept it. Then, only he, as her son, could stand up and promise her. He didn't know how Yi Qian had offended his mother to make her dislike her so much. Qin Xiu's promise made Mrs. Qin, who couldn't accompany him, feel relieved. She secretly pulled Qin Xiu into the room and reminded him, "It's not that I don't allow you to interact with Miss Yi. You've seen it for yourself. She has a boyfriend, and she knows you're Grandpa Fu's grandson. I'm really worried that you'll offend both families because of her. I hope you can understand my painstaking efforts. Don't make me worry, okay? Don't interact with her too much. After a long time, everything will be over. Do you understand?" Tip: enter Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5542, Panda Persuasion 1. Chapter 5543, Persuasion 2. Qin Xiu was trying to let go, but it was a difficult process. Waiting was full of hope, but giving up was full of despair. He was struggling in despair, but his mother kept asking him to understand her. "Mom, can you please understand your son?" Qin Xiu closed his eyes and said softly, "Now it's not her fault. It's your son's fault. Mom, it's my fault. You can't blame her. It's unfair to her. Madam Li and Miss Du, you think highly of people like them. Why do you look down on Yi Qian? I don't want you to worry, and I don't want Yi Qian to be in a difficult position. Don't worry, I won't meet her alone, and I won't talk to her. I won't see her then. I'll go first." Madam Chin was anxious when she heard this. "Xiu, I know you're a good boy and won't take the initiative to look for her, but I don't believe her. I'm worried that she'll take the initiative to look for you and cling on to you. Do you understand? How could this child be so honest?" Qin Xiu, who was about to leave, was so angry that he laughed. "Mom, have you ever seen her take the initiative to look for me? If she had taken the initiative to look for me once, Mom, I'll tell you the truth. I'll never let her go, because she never looked for him and never gave him hope. He couldn't get close to her." Madam Chin didn't calm down after hearing this. Instead, she panicked. What should she do? What should she do? How could she be so good at such a young age? Xiu was completely bewitched. Never taking the initiative to look for Xiu? She was obviously playing tricks. Only a man like Xiu, who had never been in a relationship and had never interacted with a girl before, would be fooled. Qin Xiu wanted to say more, but he didn't want to listen anymore and left the room directly. After the family went to pay their New Year's greetings, Madam Chin, who stayed behind, was a little nervous. Old Master Qin knew that his wife had something to say to her daughter-in-law, so he let Qin Yi help him back to his room to rest. In fact, Qin Yi really wanted to stay and listen. His intuition told him that whatever Madame Dowager was about to say would definitely have something to do with Qin Xiu. TSK, TSK, TSK. What about Qin Xiu, the most promising grandson of the Qin family? But even he couldn't explain it clearly. He really wanted to know. Old Master Chin had sharp eyes and could see that his grandson was restless. He said in a threatening tone, "You want to stay and listen? Has it been a long time since you've had a fight?" Chin's curiosity was instantly extinguished by Old Master Chin's words. He obediently helped Old Master Chin back to his room and was told to read the newspaper. He was not allowed to eavesdrop. He was so depressed that his heart was about to break. Mrs. Chin, who was standing outside, looked at Madame Fu's expression and regretted not insisting on going to the Fu family with her. "Sister-in-law, have a seat. I'll go to the kitchen." Seeing this, the Chin family's daughter-in-law knew that the two elders had something to say to her. As for what to say, it would be inappropriate for her to stay. Her sister-in-law had always been strong-willed. If she stayed, she would be unhappy with her. It would be better for her to take the initiative to leave. Mrs. Chin knew that her sister-in-law was saving her face. She couldn't help but smile gratefully. She knew that her sister-in-law was good to her. "Have a seat, Mrs. Chin," Madame Fu said with a serious expression. Mrs. Chin, who was sitting on the sofa, felt even more nervous. She knew that she did nothing wrong, but it was still inappropriate. After all, it was the first day of the new year. She was still a guest. No matter what kind of person that girl was, it was rude of her to come to their door and cause trouble. Note: enter Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Translator: Pinyi Translations Persuasion 2. Chapter 55-44. Persuasion 3. Realizing that she had indeed acted inappropriately, Mrs. Chin was glad that old Madam had stopped her in time. Otherwise, she would have embarrassed old Master Chin in front of Yuxing. She would have embarrassed both families in front of Yuxing. "Do you know why I asked you to stay?" Old Madam Chin asked. Madam Chin hesitated for a moment and nodded. "Ding Kong's wife, I just thought that you had a strong sense of social status. But as a mother, I can understand why you did this. There's nothing wrong with it, and I didn't say anything about it. But this time, why did you become so muddle-headed early in the morning during the New Year?" Old Madam Chin still didn't directly reveal Yi Qian's identity. She was just discussing the matter with Madam Chin. This was a family matter, so she naturally had to close the door and talk about it properly. She couldn't let her daughter-in-law have any thoughts that she shouldn't have. Old Madam Chin wanted to teach her daughter-in-law a lesson, but Madam Chin also felt a little wronged. She didn't do anything to Yi Qian. She just expressed her dislike. Moreover, she really didn't understand why old Madam Chin, who was so smart and capable, couldn't see through something so obvious. Could it be that she was easy to be coaxed and deceived because she was old? Of course not. She had just mentioned it. But old Madam Chin immediately saw through her intentions and forcibly stopped her from going to the Fu family to prevent her from causing trouble. Based on this, old Madam Chin was still the same as before. She was the most difficult mother-in-law to coax and deceive. She didn't hide it anymore. She knew that she couldn't hide it, so she might as well say it directly. "Old Madam Chin, I was a little anxious. I just saw Yi Qian in our Dangue garden early in the morning. Beside her was old Master's grandson, Li Jinyan, so I was a little anxious. Yi Qian didn't have a clear relationship with our family Xiao before. Later, she became family Xia's sixth brother's girlfriend. But now, she's running with that child from the Li family early in the morning. I'm just afraid that the child from the Li family will be deceived. Old Madam Chin, I really think that girl isn't simple, so I wanted to remind them while I was visiting old Master." Old Madam Chin sighed and shook her head. "Ding Kong's wife, let's not talk about how this is someone else's business. Furthermore, do you really know what kind of person Unyielding is better than Master Fu?" Old Madam Chin's words hit the nail on the head. Although old Madam Chin didn't know what the Fu family was up to now and why they hadn't announced Miss Jian's identity yet, she knew that the Fu family had their own plans. Even if they had been neighbors for so many years, even if the two families had a close relationship, it was not appropriate for them to intervene in such a matter. Although he didn't announce Miss Jian's identity, the old teacher absolutely doted on Miss Jian. If Ding Kang's wife really went to provoke Miss Jian on the first day of the new year, then they wouldn't be able to be close in the future. I. Mrs. Cheen thought that she was knowledgeable, but in front of old Master Fu, her knowledge was nothing. She really couldn't refute this. But I'm just being nice. Mrs. Cheen stuttered for a while before saying, Ding Kong's wife, you're an adult. You should know that a lot of times, good intentions can easily lead to bad things. This is the simplest truth. Tip: enter Panda Literature in the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5544. Thank you, Persuasion 3. Chapter 5545. Persuasion 4. How could she not understand the logic? It was just that sometimes she didn't care and made mistakes that she shouldn't have made. Just like Mrs. Cheen. If old Madam Cheen hadn't found out in time and stopped her, she would have made a mistake. Old Madam Cheen looked at her daughter-in-law, who was so stupid when it came to Unyielding. She couldn't understand it. When had Ding Kong's daughter-in-law ever done such a stupid thing? She had married into the Cheen family for decades and had never been so stupid. It made her wonder if her brain was damaged. Think about it. If you really went there just now, not to mention that you don't really know Unyielding, even if you do, what do you think old master would do if you went to him and told him about it? What would he do to our Cheen family? It's the simplest thing. If someone said that the boyfriend Ing brought home was a bad person, would you feel comfortable? This is different. Mrs. Cheen was shocked. Did old master already see that little vixen as one of his family? How is that possible? How is this different? It's the same. Old Madam Cheen's face darkened. So whether it's today or in the future, don't say anything bad about Unyielding. She's not what you think. Don't always look at her with prejudice. She's a good girl. Mrs. Cheen suddenly felt wronged. She had been married into the Cheen family for so many years, but old Madam Cheen had never said anything harsh to her. But now, on the first day of the new year, she was scolding her for an irrelevant girl. What kind of drug did Yi Chien give these people? Why were they all on her side? Feeling wronged, old Madam Cheen was instantly angered. You're feeling wronged? Fine. If you want to make a fool of yourself, I won't stop you. Go to the Fu family now and tell them about Unyielding. I won't stop you. If she gets into trouble, I'll make up for our relationship at the Fu family, even if I have to risk my old face. Old Madam Cheen was really angry. Mrs. Cheen didn't dare to go. Even if she felt wronged, she didn't dare to say it out loud. She could only apologize to old Madam Cheen. In the kitchen, the eldest daughter-in-law of the Cheen family heard this and was slightly reassured that Yi Chien was able to make her sister-in-law panic. What Old Foreign thought was good was not good. Old Foreign was a good judge of character and would not make any mistakes. She was afraid that sister-in-law had misunderstood. Even the eldest daughter-in-law of the Cheen family thought that Mrs. Cheen had misunderstood Yi Chien, but Mrs. Cheen herself didn't think she was in the wrong. In order to protect her sister-in-law's dignity, the Cheen family's daughter-in-law endured it and didn't go out. She let Mrs. Cheen coax her mother-in-law until she calmed down. On the other side, the Fu family had just finished their breakfast. After breakfast, Li Jinyan suggested that he would go to the Li family's old house and come back in the afternoon. Although he didn't spend New Year's Eve at the Li family, he still had to go there on the first day of the Lunar New Year. In terms of etiquette, Li Jinyan wouldn't let himself make any mistakes. As long as his biological father was still in the Li family's old mansion, he had to go over. Otherwise, old Madame Xiao Li would use it as a weakness and find ways to mess with him. Li Jinyan, who was already familiar with old Madame Xiao Li's tricks, had never been taken advantage of by her ever since he left the Li family. After Li Jinyan left, Qin Dingkong and Qin Xiao, as well as Qin Dinghai's eldest son, eldest daughter-in-law, grandson, and granddaughter, all of Qin Dinghua's family, went out to pay a New Year's visit to the old master. With more than 10 people coming over, the Fu family became even more lively. Tip: enter Panda Literature into the search engine and you will find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5545. New Year's Eve Persuasion 4. Chapter 5546. Deepening. Before Qin Xiao came to the Fu residence, he specially went upstairs to change into a decent suit. It wasn't because of Yi, but because he had helped in the kitchen earlier and was covered in the smell of oil and smoke. After changing, he took old Master Qin's precious can of Jun Mei and followed his father to the Fu residence. Old Master, young Master Qin Xiao and his family are all here to wish Old Master a happy new year. The guard, Xiao Yu, ran over. I counted 12 people. 12 people. Ding Kong's family, Ding Hai's family, and Ding Wu's family. It's far more than that. The old master stood up and ordered Yi Qian to quickly prepare fruits to entertain the guests. Yi Qian was the only junior in the Fu family, so Yi Qian naturally took care of these matters. Within a few minutes, the three brothers, Qin Ding Hai, Qin Ding Kong, and Qin Ding Bua, brought their families' juniors into the Fu residence. The large living room suddenly seemed crowded. The whole family came to greet the old master. A few children even hugged the old master's legs and said auspicious words. The old master liked them even more. Children are good. Children are good. Look, they're all so beautiful, so smart, and they all know how to talk. Just as old Madam Qin had joked, the old master gave out the red packets he had prepared early on. The children were even happier. Yi Qian also greeted the three uncles of the Qin family. Ambassador Qin Ding Kong looked at Yi Qian several times. It wasn't just his name that was familiar. Even his appearance was familiar. He had seen him before. He had definitely seen him before. He had definitely seen him before. He couldn't be wrong. Yi Qian also changed his clothes. After running for more than an hour, he was covered in sweat. Naturally, he had to change his clothes. Qin Xiao's gaze turned to Yi Qian, who was busy greeting his family. His heart, which had been trying to calm down, suddenly sped up and thumped fiercely a few times. She was actually wearing a dress today. In the past, he had only seen her look valiant in trousers. He had never seen her look gentle and demure in a dress. Yi Qian followed Qin Xiao's gaze and lowered her head to look at the dress she was wearing. It seemed that Qin Xiao also found the dress strange. She had no choice. She was completely persuaded by her grandfather to change into one of the two dresses. She thought it was strange, but the old man and Father Fu both said it looked good, so she continued to wear it. After pouring the tea for Qin Xiao, Yi Qian noticed that he was still glancing at the tea. He immediately thought that he had touched something, so he asked in a low voice, "Did you touch something? Or is it strange?" No, there's nothing on it. It's beautiful." Qin Xiao quickly looked away and said, "Happy New Year." Yi Qian politely replied, "Happy New Year." Then he didn't say anything more to Qin Xiao. He sat down next to the old man and chatted with him. Qin Ding Kong had also looked at Yi Qian several times. He noticed the way Qin Xiao looked at Yi Qian. He sighed in his heart a few times. Thinking of what his wife had mentioned this morning, he frowned slightly. He felt that his wife must have misunderstood. Yi Qian was obviously a relative of the Fu family. Both the old man and Yuxing liked him very much. How could he be as bad as his wife said? If he was a relative of the Fu family, then he would naturally be close to Jinyan. Looking away, Qin Ding Kong saw the old man talking to his big brother, Qin Ding Hai. Then he chatted with his father Fu and Fu Yuxing. "I haven't seen you for a few years. This year, you came back a few days earlier than I did. I haven't been back for the new year for a few years. This year, I came back to spend the new year with my father and daughter," Father Fu said with a smile. At the same time, he also announced Yi Qian's identity. Tip: type Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5546, Panda Deepening. Chapter 5547. Announcement. Even Yi Qian wasn't prepared for this, let alone the Qin family, who had suddenly quieted down. Old Master Fu patted Yi Qian's smile and said kindly, "You are the daughter of the Fu family, so why are you so surprised? You've been home for so many years, and even your father's friends don't know that he has a daughter. If you don't tell him, I'm worried that he will be bored. I'm sorry that you have been wronged." Old Manly walked over, and the biggest threat to his granddaughter's future was gone. It was time to talk. Yi Qian held Old Master Fu's arm tightly and said softly, "Grandpa, I don't feel wronged. I don't care whether other people know about it or not." "Silly girl, you don't care, but Grandpa and your father do. Our family's young miss can't be wronged." The old man thought of Mrs. Cheen. If it weren't for the fact that Mrs. Cheen was a good person, the old man would have chased her out on the spot if she said that her granddaughter wasn't good enough. Even so, old Master Fu was still unhappy. Now that he said it in front of Qin Ding Kong, he wanted Qin Ding Kong to go back and tell his wife to stop using Yi Jian's family background as an excuse. No one had the right to say anything about the daughter of the Fu family. Ambassador Qin Ding Kong was so shocked that the tea in the teacup in his hand trembled. "Daughter? Haven't you been at the missile base all these years? You haven't remarried. So when did you have such an old daughter?" Looking at it carefully, the girl beside Old Master Fu did look similar to Old Master Fu in Yuxing. But why hadn't the Fu family mentioned her before? "Haha, I'm already married. Do I need to remarry? My daughter is already 23 years old. She didn't just appear out of nowhere." Father Fu knew that his good friend, who had grown up and played with him, was shocked. He looked kindly at Yi Qian and said with a smile, "Yi Qian, my only daughter, came home a few years ago." Ambassador Qin Ding Kong was good at getting to the point. "Don't tell me you didn't know that you had such an old daughter? No, you really didn't know that you had a daughter. That's why you came home a few years ago. How could this be? There shouldn't have been such a huge mistake." The ambassador's face darkened. "Your daughter has always been raised outside, and as a father, you didn't know. Yuxing, you really mistreated your child." Qin Ding Kong knew that a child without a father by his side would suffer a lot of grievances. For example, his son and daughter had also been wronged when they were young. If they, as members of the Qin family, had been wronged, let alone Yi Qian, who was raised outside. At the mention of his daughter's grievances, the smile on Father Fu's face disappeared. "It's complicated. I'll settle it with you another day." It's been a few years since Jane Eyre returned to us, but she's been busy, and so have I. There are also some special reasons that are hard to explain, so we haven't had the time to share this good news with everyone. Big Brother Qin Dinghai smiled and said, "If you share it now, it will still be great news." Big Brother is right. Brother Yuxing, in my opinion, this is a joyous occasion that we should hold a big banquet. Qin Dingbo chimed in. He was happy to hear such a joyous occasion. Then he looked at Yi Qian again. Because the two families were close, he said directly, "I don't know if your niece has a boyfriend yet. Do you want? Why don't you consider our Qin?" Before he could finish his sentence, Qin Dinghai glared at him fiercely. He swallowed the words back into his stomach. Small note. Enter Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5547, Panda Announce. Chapter 5548. In public, Qin Ding Kong was glad that his wife did not come with him. Otherwise, he would have been so embarrassed. Missy was born in a mountain village and was scheming to climb up the social ladder. When he thought of those words, he did not even dare to sit down. His face was burning with embarrassment. He pretended not to know what Qin Dingbo wanted to say. Old Master Fu smiled and said, "There is no need to hold a banquet. Everyone knows that Miss Jian is the granddaughter of the Fu family. Other than your old master, old madam, and family Xia, not many people know about it. We are not going to announce Miss Jian's identity on a formal occasion. We're not going to let everyone know about it. Dinghai, Ding Kong, you three brothers just need to keep in mind. There is no need to go out and announce it." Qin Dinghai nodded and said, "We will keep it in mind. Don't worry, old master. I will listen to old master's arrangements." Qin Ding Kong heard old Master Fu's words and knew that he would not tell anyone about it. After all, it was his family's business. "Old master, you trust the unreliable Qin Dingbo so much. I will not tell anyone about it." Qin Dingbo patted his chest and promised. The old man smiled and nodded. "No, it's not that you're unreliable. It's just that you're too good at accounting. That's why you're unreliable." Qin Dingbo was a businessman. Businessmen were the most opportunistic. Qin Dingbo, who had gained old Master Fu's trust, did not dare to say anything about Qin Yi. He was the only son of the Fu family. Only Qin Xiu was qualified. His illegitimate son was not presentable. Fortunately, his brother glared at him. Otherwise, he would have made a mistake again. Father Fu felt proud and sad when he saw his daughter obediently leaning on old Master Fu. She did not care about fame and fortune. His daughter had suffered too much and suffered too much. It was really not easy for her to become so outstanding. As a father, he owed his daughter too much. Father Fu rubbed the corners of his eyes. Now that he had announced Yi Qian's identity, he didn't have to hide it anymore. At this moment, he couldn't wait to let the whole world know that he had a good daughter. Jane Eyre is also a quiet person. If I didn't tell you, she wouldn't have taken it to heart. This child is much calmer than me, her father. You will know how good my daughter is when you see her more in the future. I heard that you'll be Jane Eyre's elder brother in the future. You'll take good care of Jane Eyre, just like Jin Yin, right? Qin Dingkong was stunned. Could it be that his son was willing to? That's right, Uncle Yuxing. I don't have a younger sister either. Grandpa Fu treats him like his own grandson, so Yi Qian will naturally be my younger sister in the future. My older brother will definitely protect my younger sister and won't let anyone bully her. Qin Xiu made his stance clear, forcing himself to be Yi Qian's brother. From now on, they would be brother and sister. They would no longer cross the line. Father Fu didn't know that Qin Xiu liked Yi Qian. When he heard this, he was quite happy. He said to Qin Dingkong, "This is great. Jane Eyre has another elder brother." After he finished speaking, they laughed together. Old Master Fu looked at Qin Xiu, who he had watched grow up, and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Xiu was very good, but he was not fated to be with her. If he had to choose between Xiu and Old Six, he would actually side with Old Six. That child would bring happiness, safety, and happiness to his granddaughter. Note, enter Panda Literature in the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5548, Panda Publicity. Chapter 5549. See through it. The old man was not stupid. He did not think that she was suitable just because she was good. In his eyes, Qin Xiu was indeed good, but she was too gentle and patient. She would not say anything out loud like Xia Jin and the microwave. Instead, she would think about it in her heart before saying it out loud. Her personality was not bad, but it was not suitable for Yi Qian, who had a similar personality. Therefore, the old man thought that it was better that they were not fated. Come. Let's eat. Don't be too polite. Don't restrict the children. Let them play. When you were young, you were naughty enough to burn the house down. The old man greeted them and said to Yi Qian, "Jane Eyre, Uncle and Uncle will serve you tea. After drinking the tea you serve, they will have to protect you." Right. After drinking the tea served by my nephew, she will be my niece. If anyone dares to bully my nephew, I will kill them. Third brother, Jane Eyre is a soldier. If you kill them, they will send you to the police station. Qin Dingkong joked. Don't be so happy. Qin Dingbo swallowed and shrank back into the sofa. Niece, Uncle is most afraid of two kinds of people. One is you, and the other is the Bureau of Industry and Commerce. Let's keep our distance in the future. Everyone laughed. Even Yi Qian could not help but chuckle. This little uncle of the Qin family was indeed interesting. Grandpa Qin, this is the Jin Junmei tea that my grandfather asked me to bring over. Qin Xiu quickly handed over the Jin Junmei tea. Oh, why is your grandfather willing to give me his precious tea? The old man took it and laughed. Last time, when I asked him to drink it, he said he didn't have any left. Grandpa knows that you miss it, so he kept it for the holidays. Qin Xiu and his father looked at each other. They could not say the real reason behind this. Because of his daughter-in-law, old Master Qin was also worried. Xiao Fu, pick it up and put it away. All right, go and get the inkstone that I received last time. Let them bring it back later. The old man looked at the tea in his hand and said with a smile, Of course, I can't accept such good tea for nothing. I have to give him something in return. Then I will thank Grandpa Fu on behalf of Grandpa. Qin Xiu didn't refuse. The two families had a close relationship, so it was normal for them to exchange gifts. It was obvious that the old man didn't have any prejudice against them. When he got back, he had to tell his mother not to make things difficult for Yi Qian anymore. Let your grandfather have a good rest. Tell him that I'm still waiting for him to recover so we can drink tea and play chess together. The old man had not gone out for the past few days, and he missed his old friend very much. I'll go look for him after the snow melts. Don't worry, I will definitely tell grandfather about this. Qin Xiu nodded slightly. Grandpa also knows that he needs to take care of his health. He has been following the doctor's instructions these days. That's good, that's good. Knowing that his old friend was doing well, the old man was very relieved. Seeing that Qin Xiu had been avoiding Yi Qian, the old man, who was as clear as a mirror, saw through it but didn't say anything. A child who knew his limits would never make the adults worry. Yi Qian also didn't talk to Qin Xiu more just because he said that he would be her brother in the future and would take good care of her. It wouldn't be wrong to stay away from Qin Xiu. At around 10 o'clock, the Fu family had guests again, so the three brothers of the Qin family got up and left. The Fu family was celebrating the new year, but the Li family was not very peaceful. Jiutian Divine Emperor. Tip: enter Panda Literature in the search engine and you will find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5549. Translator. Henyi translation see through. Chapter 5550. Fight. 1. Jin Yin returned to the Li family's old residence. Before he even entered, he could hear the sounds of an argument in the living room. Li Ronghuan, what do you mean by this? It's the new year, and you're placing the memorial tablets on my mother's seat. What are you trying to do? The voice was sharp and piercing, and Li Jinyan couldn't help but frown. Big sister, what do you mean by this? This isn't a memorial tablet. This is my father and mother's memorial tablets. Moreover, it's the new year, so shouldn't it be a family reunion? Is there a problem with me inviting my parents out? Li Ronghuan, who was being pointed at, replied in a serious tone. What big sister? Dad just left, and you're already disrespecting him? Mrs. Li was furious. How could that be what she meant? She was clearly referring to the original wife who had caused her to raise her outside until she was 10 years old. The door wasn't locked, so Li Jinyan directly opened it and entered. He saw Li Ronghuan placing Old Man Li and Old Madam Li's memorial tablets on the main seats. That was where Old Madam Xiao and Old Man Li often sat when they were alive. Old Madam Xiao was supported by Mrs. Li. Her face was ashen, and she looked like she was about to faint from anger. Little uncle, aren't you going a little overboard? Du Jai couldn't help but speak up for her grandmother and mother. You're disrespecting my grandmother. I'm going overboard? How am I going overboard? Also, Jai, don't you know that the younger generation can't interrupt when the elders are speaking? You're a junior with a different surname, so why are you interrupting in front of me? Li Ronghuan glanced at Du Jai, and his voice became even more serious. He was completely like an elder educating a junior. If this gets out, your reputation won't be good. At that time, not just the Qin family, no matter which family it is, they wouldn't want a daughter-in-law who contradicts her elders on the first day of the new year. Little uncle. Du Jai stared at Li Ronghuan with widened eyes, but in the end, she didn't continue. After all, Li Ronghuan's mouth was so powerful. If she really spread it outside, what would she do if it really affected her reputation? Ronghuan, Jai is still a child. As an elder, you should be more tolerant. Li Jinyan's lips twitched slightly. The person who spoke was none other than his father, the eldest son of the Li family, Li Tianhao. Madam Li's husband, Du Guoqiang, also spoke. Ronghuan, for my sake, please ask Old Master and Old Madam to return to their seats. Du Guoqiang originally didn't want to get involved in the Du family's affairs, nor did he want Madam Li and Du Jai to get involved in the Li family's affairs. However, the mother and daughter always refused to listen to his advice, so he couldn't be bothered to pay attention to them. However, he couldn't let the outside world say that his daughter's character wasn't good. Brother-in-law, you've misunderstood me. Aren't I teaching Jai? It's always the elders who speak and the juniors listen. Brother-in-law, go out and ask around. Which family's juniors aren't like this? Li Ronghuan looked up calmly. She was going against everyone with her own strength, but it didn't take her any effort at all. If you want to marry well, you have to be upright first. Li Ronghuan had already asked around about Du Jiai's affairs. With just one sentence, she let Du Guiqiang know about his daughter's scandals. My mother is also your elder. If you don't respect my mother, what right do you have to educate my daughter? Madame Li finally found an opportunity to retaliate against Li Ronghuan. You didn't even stand upright yourself, and you still have the cheek to talk about my daughter? Tui. Tip. Enter Panda Literature into the search engine to find this website. Thank you. Chapter 5550. Panda Literature Battle 1. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.